Well, obviously I'm not in Las Vegas. No, that, my friend, is snow. And it's cold out there. I'm up here in Ottawa, Canada, hanging out with Great North Wrestling, man. Never know when I'm going to step in there and do something. But I'm up here doing my comedy tour right now, man. You got to check it out. Got to check it out, man. It's fun stuff. The unspoken word. That's what I call it. Just come see us, man. And if you don't see us on that, man, get me on Twitter, brother. Check the movie out, Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts. Hell, check all my stuff out. In fact, if you don't check something out, check one of them. I won't do that to you. I don't want to show my ass. Not this week. Maybe next week.
All right, so I just wanted to start off by asking you about your memories of the Mid-South territory.
Oh, God. Well, other than hating Bill Watts still and forever, Mid-South was the best place in the country to learn. There was always pretty decent talent in there, but more importantly, I guess it's a double-edged sword when you talk about Bill Watts. You know, he was such a fucking bully and an asshole, man, and was really verbally abusive to people, you know, just really nasty. And he ran his company with fear. You know, he had everybody job scared or physically intimidated by him. I mean, he liked to play a bully. I guess the hardest thing about working for Bill Watts was laughing at all of his stories or nodding improvement that he kicked so-and-so's ass and he kicked so-and-so's ass. You know, bullshit, man. Where do you bury your dead? But no, you learned a lot there. And Bill Watts, being from the Eddie Graham school of wrestling, always had finishes that were really involved. I think that's what's wrong with wrestling today is the finishes today are really poor. You know, they don't make sense. Right. Back in the day, you built stuff in the finish. You built to a crescendo, you know, and it made sense. And there wasn't wasted movement. There wasn't wasted moves. It wasn't bullshit. You know, it was solid wrestling. So with that Eddie Graham mentality, I mean, brother, sometimes remembering a finish for him, it was incredible, man, because the finish might be 6 minutes long. Right. I mean, but they wanted to paint the picture, you know, properly. And I think that's what happens with WWE today is that everybody's trying to get all their stuff in, and they don't care whose toes they step on, or they don't care if it affects the card. You know, a wrestling card needs to be built like this too. You know, it needs to be built to a crescendo, you know, to the main event. The first match does not need and should not need and should be fired if they do it. Go out there and do a bunch of stuff. It's unneeded. It's unwarranted, you know, and I wish you'd go back to that because it made it much more entertaining.
Is there any specific incidents of Bill Watts' bullying that...
oh, God, yeah. God, yeah. Calling Ernie Ladd the N-word all the time, you know, and others. I guess he got into trouble at WCW for talking to women the way he talked to women. You know, he was... he said what he wanted to, you know. And
I heard he liked to urinate off the balcony at the CNN Center as well.
I wouldn't doubt it, you know.
So you went on to Stampede Wrestling.
Yeah.
What are your memories from those days?
Well, a great place to learn. I just left Vancouver. And I'd been given an opportunity to work main event in Vancouver. Working main event's completely different than working first match. You know, your style is different. The things that you do is different. You're more involved in the big picture. So going over to Calgary and again having that opportunity to be in the main event, although it was the blind leading the blind. I mean, it was me wrestling Junkyard Dog. when he was Sylvester Ritter. And it was certainly the blind leading the blind, man. And we didn't have a damn clue what we were doing out there half the time, except we were going out there and working hard. You know, and sometimes working hard will get you by.
Was he already into his substance abuse issues at that point?
Yeah. Not as bad as he got, but he wasn't doing the coke heavy then, but he was doing a lot of pills and a lot of reefer, you know.
Was Bret Hart active as a wrestler at that time?
Yeah. I was roommates with Bret. Some strange times. I lived with him for a while I was there. Bret was wrestling Dynamite Kid every night, so that was fun to watch. And quite the experience for Bret, because that's who taught Bret was Dynamite. I mean, Dynamite went out there every night and schooled him. It was interesting to watch, as you can imagine.
So Dynamite already had his mean streak by that time?
Yeah.
Is there any incidents that stand out in your mind?
Oh, yeah, fuck, man. I mean, Bret was, he was young, and he would get excited, and he'd let one go, and potato Dynamite pretty good, maybe split his eye or something like that. And Dynamite for a while, Dynamite lived above me. Is that right? Yeah, Dynamite lived above me in an apartment complex, and he would come down, his eye would be split, and I'm like, man, I seen that last night. He goes, yeah, said, tonight, Jake. He says, you got to give him a receipt. I said, yeah, I understand that, man. He says, so how should I do it? A knee, an elbow, or a punch? I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me which one. I'm like, I'm not going to fight. Then I'll do all three. I'm okay, wait a minute, fuck him, man. Yeah, okay, an elbow. Okay, what should I split? Should I split his eye, his nose, or his chin? Oh, don't ask me that. Then I'll do all three. Okay, wait a minute. Do his eye. Eye for an eye. And he said, well, you better be watching or I'll do two, So I'd have to go out and watch the match, and he'd look back at me and wave at me when he came ready to do it, and he'd do it, So, but Dynamite back in those days, my God, man. I've been in the ring with him when he'd have me in an arm bar or something, and somebody in the third row would piss him off, and Jake, I'll be right back. Just stay here. And he'd fucking get out of the ring and go out in third row and knock the shit out of somebody. And come back in the ring, I'd still be laying there with my arms sticking up in the air,
Were you around when he was attacked by the Rougeau brothers?
Yes, yeah.
What was your opinion on that whole thing?
That was all fucking Davey Boy's bullshit. Davey Boy stirred that pot. Davey Boy was always stirring the pot, and then Dynamite saving the day, Davey Boy would stir Dynamite up and get Dynamite pissed off, and he'd step back and watch the action. And he's a chicken shit, as far as I'm concerned. No respect at all for that piece of shit. But, I was there, and, they hit around the corner, but, Dynamite had him scared. Dynamite was a rough, tough son of a bitch, man, he'd hurt you.
Right.
And, they were scared to death. So when Dynamite came around that corner, man, and they were right there, brother, knocked his fucking teeth out. And then, of course, McMahon stepped in and said, that's enough, no more, or you're all gone. So there was no retaliation.
And you mentioned you were roommates with Bret. Are you surprised that he went on to become the star that he did?
Yeah, I'm surprised he got that push.
What do you think of the whole Montreal Screwjob?
It's bullshit, man. Number one, if Bret, it's a work, man. Part of what was wrong with the WWE at that time was the fact that the inmates were running the asylum. I didn't agree with any of that crap, man. The clique. I was writing at one point for Vince, and Vince would wind up getting Bret and Shawn on the phone and would have to talk to them for 3 or 4 hours, trying to talk them into an idea or an angle. Are you serious? I would have fired both them bastards. It's just, you know, it's bullshit, man. This is a business. Treat it like a business. Bret, you didn't win that belt, believe it or not. You did not win that belt. It was handed to you on a silver platter. You know, so this Montreal Screwjob, my ass, man. Yeah, they were just, it was such bullshit what those guys were doing, and you know, the fact that Sonny was involved in it made it even worse.
Speaking of Sonny, is there anyone at the WWE that you didn't have sex with around that time?
Me. Me. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And for you fans out there, if you're considering buying into the I'll watch Missy Hyatt and her do stuff on film, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, poor Missy Hyatt, her mouth looks like two rubber tires, man.
And you ended up in the Atlanta territory for a while with the original Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
And you were roommates with Road Warrior Animal.
And Hawk.
And Hawk as well.
Yeah.
What was that like, being roommates with them?
Insane. Not only roommates with them, but oh God, the Russian. He went over to Charlotte. Nikita was living on our couch. He was about to get married up in Minnesota, and I guess he caught his wife screwing somebody right before he got married, and that kind of blew that marriage out the window. And he came down to Atlanta, and he was so depressed, man. Oh my God, he was a pain in the ass, man. He was just moping around, you know. And of course, he was doing all that juice too, man. So it made him really edgy. And you got Animal in there, who Lord knows how much of that shit he did, you know. But had both of them in there, man. So it was like walking on pins and needles. And finally, I was the booker at the time. And Charlotte called and said, look, we'd like to find somebody that looks like a road warrior. I said, I got just the fucking guy. And Nikita had never wrestled. I just wanted to get him out of that apartment, man. And shipped his ass over there, and hell, he made money. He made a lot of money, you know, so that worked well for him. And another guy that we had live on the couch for a while was Rick Rude.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick was there for a while, and so
you were actually a member of the Legion of Doom?
Yeah, I was one of the original members, yeah.
I guess Paul Ellering was still the manager back then?
Yeah. That was all our idea. I rode with those guys. Like I said, I was the booker. I was writing everything, and Hawk's the one that came up with the idea of the Legion of Doom, because he did such a great job imitating voices.
Right.
And what was the guy's name that did that? How'd it go? It's like, meanwhile, at the halls of justice, and Hawk could flop right in there. And we were just stoned, just doing silly shit on the road. And the next thing you know, I thought, fuck it, man, let's go ahead and call ourselves the Legion of Doom, you know. And we started it, and it was the four of us, and then we added the spoiler, and that was it. Shooting the angle with Bundy, turning Bundy babyface. That was brilliant, man.
And you also spent some time in World Class Championship.
Yeah.
What were the Von Erichs like in those days?
Man, loose cannons, man. It was pretty wild. It's pretty sad. It's sad now, looking back at it. At the time, you just shook your head and wondered, what the fuck? What are these guys doing? You know, I felt a lot for Chris Von Erich. He never wanted to wrestle, you know, but he was forced into it. If you're a Von Erich, you're going to wrestle. And Kerry, I think everybody had a soft spot for Kerry, because he was just that big kid, man, just trying to have fun in life, you know. And you know, David was definitely the best wrestler out of the bunch.
Did you ever have to wrestle them when they were under the influence?
Oh yeah. I don't know if it was worse or better, you know, because sometimes they kind of cooled them down a little bit. It was funny one time, one of my first matches was Gino and I and Chris Adams against the three. And one of them turnbuckled Gino, and Gino went into the corner and he does this. And I yell at him, "Hey, what the hell is that? What kind of move is that?" He goes, "You'll see." So a couple minutes later, I got into the ring and I got thrown into the corner, and I didn't put this shit up. And all of a sudden, here comes Kevin, who was outside the ring, flying across the ring and diving at me and catching me with an elbow and knee and everything else at once, man. Just a massive potato. So that's what you did. It was defense, man. Block everything. So, yeah, it was sad. What the whole thing, those guys, them dying and committing suicide, it's just senseless crap, man. It really is.
And you mentioned Gino Hernandez. A lot of people have said that he may have been murdered because of the cocaine that he overdosed on was found in his stomach. What do you think of that?
That's sort of like the Benoit thing, man. I'm not God and I don't know. I know Gino was attached to some heavy people, and he was also attached to the gay factions down in Houston, and he was running in some pretty big circles, man, that maybe didn't belong. I don't know.
And was Bruiser Brody around in those
days?
No.
Now, I did have my time with Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen a few years before in Mid-South. I was refereeing and starting, and they were a tag team. Oh my God, that was a tag team, brother. Stan Hansen and Brody in the same corner, man, was unbelievable. And Frank was such a gentle giant back then. People label Frank a lot of things, but he was always kind to me. Was always helping me out, trying to inspire me, because I was pretty lazy back then. I never was a big gym rat. Frank, of course, was. And regardless, the thing that happened to him was murder. No doubt about it.
What do you think about Jose Gonzalez getting away with murder in that case?
Hang the motherfucker, that's all I can say, it's bullshit, man. What went on down there, and it's sad and it's sick that there were guys in that locker room that could have said something, done something. I understand your fear. Goddamn, man. Really?
Bleeding to be death.
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, man. Bled to death. Yeah, with his guts hanging out. And there were so-called friends of his in the locker room. And it wouldn't do anything. So that's bullshit.
Now, when you went to WWE the first time around, is that when you first started bringing the snake to the ring?
Yeah. I'd had that idea for years, man, but nobody ever wanted me to do it. In fact, Bill Watts' reply to it was, "This isn't a goddamn carnival." And guess what, Bill? I guess it is. It is a carnival, man. And doing the snake thing, man, certainly propelled me right to the top of everything. But it was a unique character. It just made it tough on me because I hated and terrified of snakes. Still am. I hate them fucking things. I'm terrified of them. I always have been. I'm from Texas. Got different snakes out the ass there that they're poisonous and can hurt you. And I got stoned one night and come up with that idea and ran my mouth. The next thing you know, I'm getting my wish. So fair warning, be careful what you wish for.
And you were involved in Wrestlemania 2. That was your first Wrestlemania. I've heard Jesse Ventura say many times that he was trying to form a wrestlers union around Wrestlemania 2. Did you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear anything about it, man.
What do you think of Jesse Ventura?
I try not to think of Jesse. Mama said if you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything at all. So I'll just leave it at that.
And you feuded with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Everyone knows about the DDT, outside of the ring.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that feud and having his wife involved? Because I've heard a lot of stories that his wife
Cost him his job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have dealings with her. Ricky Steamboat is a gentleman, and a great, great guy, and an unbelievable performer. He can sell like no other. The only person that can sell as well as him would be Ricky Morton, of Rock and Roll Express. They both do a phenomenal job. Working with him was just, it was a night off, man. We just go out there and have fun, you know, and the only regret I have is dropping him on the concrete. But I told him, I told Vince, I told George Scott, it cannot be done. It'll fucking kill him. And Ricky had gotten a push a few years before in Charlotte from George Scott. He was a booker. And he gave Ricky his push. And George really wanted that outside the ring thing to happen. And they came to me and argued. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be responsible. And Ricky pulled me aside, and I don't know why he always called me Jackson, but he called me Jackson. And Jackson, come on, man, do it for me. I'm like, Ricky, I can't do it. It will fuck you up, you know? There's no stopping it. And he's like, man, don't worry about me. I can get my hands down, I'll block it. I said, Ricky, you won't. He said, look, I owe George this favor. And George's job is in a precarious position right now, and he needs this to happen. I said, Ricky, he said, please do it for me. I'm like, fuck, man, okay. I'll do it. So I did it and damn near killed him. And if you watch the tape, you'll see George Scott get in the ring after the fact, and I pointed him and I pointed Ricky, like, okay, motherfucker, there he is, that's your fault. That is your fault. And, you know, it took Ricky's eyes 2 weeks to turn black. That's how much swelling there was. And it was incredible. His forehead swelled out 3.5 inches. You know, he was lucky he didn't die.
Was it George Scott's idea to have Ricky bring the Komodo dragon?
I don't know whose idea that was. Jesus Christ. That thing was nasty. And that's a meat eater. And, of course, we didn't help matters. We'd go in the locker room and take the rubber band 2 or 3 loops off so he could open his mouth a little bit. And Ricky had to watch, make sure his fingers didn't get in there. He'd bit his fingers off, but it was just fun, you know.
And you ended up getting your own interview segment called The Snake Pit. How did that come about?
Well, I had no idea. Like a lot of things then, you weren't told anything till that moment. And they came up to me that day and said, oh, so you got a good break with the snake pit thing. I'm like, what do you mean? What snake pit thing? And guy's name was Nelson something. I can't remember Nelson. He was way up in TV land stuff. And yeah, we're giving you that segment like Piper's Pit is going to be the snake pit. So I think you're going to like it. Fuck, I loved it. You know, it gave you time every week, man.
And you had Hulk Hogan on there once, and apparently your DDT chants were outweighing Hogan's chants. You want to tell us about that situation?
Yeah, you fans cost me a lot of friggin' money. We did a thing where we wound up, he was pushing iron and measuring his pythons against the size of my pythons, and of course his pythons were larger. Not really. And then I wound up throwing powder in his face and DDTing him on the concrete, which I told him, you cannot be done, so we won't do it on the concrete. We'll do it on the platform. So, well, it's still not going to be fun. And I did it, and it split his skull. And went back to the back, and just like, stand right here, Jake. Oh, my God. These people here in a couple of minutes, he said, they'll start chanting, Hulkster, Hulkster. He'll get up, he'll rip his shirt off, and God dang it, said, you guys are off to the fucking races, making money everywhere. I'm like, hell yeah, man, I'm fucking so pumped, man. I'm like, oh, hell, I'm getting my big break, man. Finally, I'm getting it. And 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, nothing. And then all of a sudden, they started, DDT, DDT. And Vince looked at me and he goes, it ain't happening. What do you mean? And we ran it. We ran that angle in 2 places, Providence, Rhode Island, and in Montreal. Sold out both places, set records in both places. But the fans chanting DDT was a split of marketing. And of course, they had billions of dollars invested in Hogan and marketing plan, and 35 cents in mine. So that was
the other big incident that happened at the Snake Pit that everyone talks about is the Honky Tonk Man guitar incident. Yeah. Now the Honky Tonk Man, we have interviewed him and he's told us that it was a fully gimmicked guitar.
It wasn't gimmicked at all, man. It nearly killed me. Nearly fucking killed me. And that was because they asked Pat Patterson's significant other to go get the guitar. Well, that guy went to a guitar shop and thought, well, Vince would want the best. So they got a proper guitar, man. The thing was 1/2 inch thick and fiberglass. And they put some gouges in it, man, but it didn't get enough. And he hit me that thing, man, and it really screwed me up. And I know my ex-wife now, but she peeled fiberglass splinters out of my back for weeks. You know, because you couldn't see it, you could feel it. It drag cloth across it and it'd snag and catch it, and then you had to find it and try to pull it out. But that's where a lot of my problems began right then. I started taking painkillers then because he obliterated 2 discs in my neck. I mean, just the surgeon said that he'd had guys fall off 10-story buildings, and the disc had not done that. The disc actually exploded in my neck, 2 of them, 6 and 7. And, you know, along with the pills, and all of a sudden here comes cocaine, and that was the beginning of me using cocaine just to get up, you know.
Is it true they were thinking of giving you the Intercontinental title?
I don't know about that. I don't think they were. I didn't need a title. A lot of guys need a title to be a star. I was a star, right? As long as I had that snake, I had it going.
Do you still have heat with Honky Tonk Man over that, or is it you guys pretty much forgiven?
I didn't ever have heat with him over that. There's other stuff I've got heat with him with, and I will not go into that. He knows what he's done.
And you had a famous feud with Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Well, I came out of rehab, and they thought it was a good idea, maybe to have my wife travel with me, to get me back on my feet and get me back to used to being on the road. And, you know, it wasn't a good idea because, number one, my wife did not want to be on the road. Number two, she did not want to be in front of a camera. And number three, guys, if you want to save your marriage, don't take your wife on the road because, unfortunately, your wife sees too much. And when I say that, she'll see other wrestlers being inappropriate with girls and stuff. And here's your wife that's friends with half of them. And these assholes don't give a fuck, man. They expect me to, you know, hold my finger up and tell her to shh. And by me doing that, which I did, you know, hey, don't get involved in that. That's her shit. Don't you say nothing to them. What'd that wife think of me? You know, it caused a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And one funny thing that happened was Rick Rude, she slapped Rick Rude one time, and Rick Rude told me afterwards, your wife hits harder than you do. She busted his eardrum.
Is it true that he was fairly intense in the ring?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was wound pretty tight, man. Rick was dangerous.
Is that why Hogan never wrestled him?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that and he knocked out Dizzy a couple of times, which was pretty funny.
And Honky Tonk Man actually told us a story about Rick Rude's death, that it was actually suicide due to him injecting Viagra directly into his...
That's what I heard too, but I don't know. Again, I'll let God sort that out, man. Regardless, you know, him and Perfect and all those guys that are gone, man, You know, you can say it's suicide, you can say it's an accident, you can say this, I'll say this, they're dead. And it's a damn shame.
And you just mentioned Dizzy Hogan, of course, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I'm not sure if you wrestled, I'm sure you probably did here and there, but what did you think of him as a personality? We've dealt with him, and he has a bit of a temper we found here and there.
I don't even want to go there, man. I'll leave that alone. I love Greg. Greg's a great guy.
And you feuded with Andre the Giant a little bit with him being afraid of the snakes. What was Andre like at that point of his career?
He was pretty busted up. If I needed him to go down or something, it was near a rope or supported by both ropes or whatever. I had a great time with him, man. I mean,
did you ever have the opportunity to drink with him in those days?
No, a few beers here and there, you know, but I did play a lot of cards with him. And he's such a great man, you know, and a good man. I had no problems with him. We had a little problem the first time we wrestled. He completely guzzled me. I mean, he ate my ass up, did not give me anything, and I went back to the locker room and had lost my mind and screamed at him. Basically, the screaming was about, look, if you're going to work like that, brother, we're fucked. We're not going to make a goddamn nickel with this idea. And sometimes he tested people, and that's what it was with me. He wanted to test me and see if I'd speak up. And when I spoke up, he looked at me and smiled and said, "Go, boss." And now we make money, you know. And, he did that with several people. I mean, Savage for one. Savage was totally terrified of Andre because if you didn't fight Andre when you're in the ring, I mean fighting, he would punish your ass. And Randy was light on him. And when you're light on him, he would toss you around the ring like a rag doll, man. It was pretty scary.
And one guy that I'm sure was probably pretty easy to work with was Ted DiBiase.
Oh, yeah.
Anything stand out in your mind about working with him?
Just putting a snake down Virgil's pants nearly every night. That was a lot of fun. Ted and I, we wrestled in Mid-South. We wrestled over here. We wrestled over there. And Ted's always let me call the match, so it was simple. We had fun out there, man.
And you had some matches with Bad News Brown as well,
Yep.
and I've heard a lot of horror stories about his stiffness. How were those matches?
No problem at all. Again, Bad News was a guy whose knees were shot. I didn't take him off his feet. We had no problem. If you went out in the ring and started bumping him, his legs hurt. He couldn't get back up. So he's screaming in pain, you're going to get some shit, you know. They tried to put him and Hogan together, but it didn't work because Hogan needed to knock him down. I didn't need to knock him motherfucker down, man. I just need to do my shit, let him do his shit. And, you know, I sold his karate stuff. It's all fine, man. It's all peaches and cream for me. And hell, we wound up going around 3 times. You know.
And leading into WrestleMania 7, you had a very memorable feud with Rick Martel.
Yeah.
You were blinded.
Yeah, stupid ideas I had.
Was that your idea?
Fuck yeah. It was my idea to get those bullshit contacts too, man. I couldn't see fuck all through them. And the guys had a lot of fun. They'd leave me over shit, you know. But I turned that table around because I started waiting till we got in front of people. And then I would trip over something and go down. And then I'd go, why did you do that to me? And, you know, and the fans are going, asshole, why'd you hurt Jake? He's blind, don't you know that? You know, fucking people were pelting them, so that was fun.
And in the blindfold match, could you actually see out of the blindfold?
Just barely. Great time, though.
And a really interesting angle was the angle you did with Earthquake where he crushed Damien.
Yeah.
Was that you that came up with that idea?
No, that was Vince and them's idea, but the part that I came up with was being tied in the ropes. They wanted me to get knocked out of the ring and then hurt outside the ring and not see it. But my idea is, fuck, man, if you really want to hurt me, you know, rape my wife in front of me, you know, please. And So being tied in the ropes and helpless while he does that shit was pretty awesome. And then, of course, having to deal with the RSPCA whenever I got back in the back, because they had to be there, and they had to see the snake before and after. And, of course, we had switch bags underneath the ring. I don't know if you know what was in that bag.
No.
60 pounds of hamburger meat in women's pantyhose. That way, and that was my idea. That way, when he squished it, blood would seep out.
So you did some vignettes with the Ultimate Warrior to prepare him to wrestle the Undertaker.
Yeah, and to wrestle me.
And to wrestle you, yeah. What was your opinion of the Ultimate Warrior, and what was it like working with him?
Well, I never actually worked with him. Probably the most frustrating thing I ever went through in my life was getting a phone call in Orlando, and it was Vince saying, you need to go see the Ultimate Warrior. I said, see for what? I said, you need to go ask him if he'll wrestle you for the belt. I'm like, what? He said, you need to get his permission. I'm like, you fucking serious? And I had to go ask him to please wrestle me for, do an angle with me. And he went off on me pretty strong. I don't care about you and your fucking problems, your fucking addiction, your fucking dope, I don't give a fuck. I just want to make fucking money, so you fucking better show up, motherfucker, every fucking night. You don't give me any fucking problems and all this bullshit. And I'm, fuck you, cocksucker. And then what happens? He winds up getting shit canned, and I lose the money. I was finally
that was over the SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was finally going to get my run with the champ, which is when you're making money, and got fucked again, man.
You did one vignette with him where he was in a room full of snakes.
Yeah.
Was he happy about having to be in there?
No, he wasn't, because, and he's an idiot because, whatever, but we told him, look, shuffle your feet. Shuffle your feet through there. Did he? No. Stepping on him. What are they doing? Biting the fuck out of his legs. So I thought that was pretty funny.
And you had a really famous and good feud with Macho Man Randy Savage, where you did the King Cobra angle, where he was actually bitten legitimately by a cobra. You want to tell us about that feud and who came up with the idea to have an actual snake bite?
Well, Vince and them came up with it. It's really funny, man. This is part of my routine that I do. Randy came to me, the day of, and he's like, "Okay, brother, we're gonna do the deal tonight." Yeah, he said, "Okay, are we sure that snake's all right?" I'm like, "What the fuck you mean? Make sure it's all right? I mean, there's no fucking game going on here, is there? Game? Yeah, stranger things have happened here in the WWE, man. You're not trying to take the Macho Man out here, are you?" I'm like, "You fucking serious? You think that I'm fucking gonna poison a snake in here? It's gonna bite you and you're gonna die, and that way I get the belt?" Things happen, I just like to make sure that's not what's gonna happen. So, why don't we just do this? Why don't you let the snake bite you right now, and we'll make sure you don't get sick. And if you don't get sick, then I'll do it later. I'm like, "You fucking kidding me?" "No, brother, I'm not. And if you don't let the fucking snake bite you, I think you and I got a real problem right now." I'm like, I'm fixing to fight this motherfucker. And so, long story short, I had to let it bite me, and it did. And did in the ring. Before we went in the ring, he says, "Okay," he says, "once it bites me and lets go, bring it back to me, because I may want you to hook it up again. And because I want to make sure this angle works." "Okay, no problem." Well, brother, I was so fucking pissed off about having that snake bite me that whenever I got the snake out, I turned my back to him and I paintbrushed the fucking shit out of that snake. That motherfucker was mad. And it latched onto him and it would not let go. Would not let go. I pulled on it, would not let go. Tugged on it, jerked on it, would not let go. And Vince sent Elizabeth down, then he sent Piper down, and they're like, "Get it out of him." I'm trying, And so I finally pried his mouth open. When I did, I picked the snake up. I remember what Randy had said. Come back. He said, Randy, you know, get that motherfucker away from me. You know, he was pretty excited about it because they chewed on him a good minute and a half. You know.
What was it like when you let the snake bite you, knowing like most people are afraid of snakes, but to willingly let a snake bite you?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up in your head, man, because I'd much rather have a cobra bite me than you know, because the venom sacs have been removed, of course, but they don't have fangs, they have teeth. So it's like a catfish's mouth, man. It doesn't hurt, it just kind of, you know, it'll scratch you, make you bleed, but that's about it. Whereas if pythons bite you, man, that's what all these scars are. These are all python bites. That was 24 stitches there, man. It got that vein, and that's pretty fucked up, you know, because I could have bled to death real quick right there. But
and you mentioned Elizabeth. There was always a lot of weird stuff going backstage with Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice anything that really stood out to you?
Well, he was psychotic, man, over her, you know. He so jealous, man. I mean, I've seen him go off on people in the airport and seen him go off on Bobby Heenan one time, you know, and George Steele, you know, whenever George put her up on the shoulders, and then whenever Hogan put her up on his shoulders, whenever they were doing the purple polka dot bikini bullshit. Oh my God, the stuff they made money with, my God.
And is it true you were supposed to have a feud with Sid around that time?
Yeah.
What happened with that?
He blew his bicep. Yeah, blew his bicep, man.
And your last feud of that big WWE run you had was with The Undertaker that culminated at WrestleMania 8.
Yeah.
Why did you leave WWE?
I had been promised a position, and that position was Pat Patterson's position, but Pat Patterson supposedly had been fired over some stuff that it went down, and I was waiting for that position. I'd been promised that spot, and then whenever it happened, I said, okay, where's my spot at? Well, we're not going to give that spot away out of respect for Pat. Well, you just fucking lied to me again. And I felt like I'd been lied to several times there, and I'd never gotten that big money shot. I was always the one getting the heel ready for Hogan, which I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing jobs and shit. Pay me. And Vince had a funny way of paying, you know. If you had the strap, you got money. If you had the Intercontinental, you got money. If you wrestled those guys, you got money. I wasn't getting the money because I wasn't wrestling those guys because the DDT thing, and then the other title was, you know, with Honky or whoever, and it just wasn't coming around to me. So again, I was just put in a position that it was la la land, man. And, I thought it was always pretty funny that if I was on the same card as Hogan, Hogan would go on fourth and I'd go on last. Well, I'm not getting the money.
Right.
And it's not right.
So in WWE, you're paid according to where you are on the card,
supposedly.
percentage of the gate.
Yeah, supposedly.
So by the time you had that Undertaker match at WrestleMania 8, was the deal with WCW already in place?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it hadn't been signed yet, of course, and unfortunately for me, I negotiated one hell of a deal, a multi-million-dollar deal. And then I leave the WWF, and I have to wait 90 days, and within that 90 days, Bill Watts went into power at WCW, and he tore my contract up in my face and laughed at me. Because he knew that I'd already quit one place, I couldn't go back. And so now, instead of getting the big money contract, I got fucking peanuts, man. Fucking peanuts. And that didn't last long. Because Bill Watts, in his great thinking, thought that it would be better to destroy Jake the Snake character. That would make WCW better. No, it makes it weaker because you just killed off a guy that could draw you money. And he banned the Snake. When he banned the Snake, that's when I went into rehab, and he fired me and took all my money, and I wound up getting him fired.
And you did an angle there involving Cactus Jack, who went on to become Mankind. What's your opinion of him overall throughout the years?
He works hard, man. He does way too much. I always told him that he's going to kill himself, and look at him, man. He's damn near dead. I guess there's some issues between Jack and I. That I wasn't aware of, other than the fact with the beyond the mat bullshit. But he's a funny character, man.
And the main feud that you're remembered for in WCW, even though it was a very short time, was the Sting. What was it like working with him?
I didn't have a good time. It was probably as much my fault as it was his. Sting at the time was bored and tired of being the guy that always got jumped when the new guy came in, and as far as I'm concerned, he was being lazy, and so he didn't go out of his way in the ring, to do anything special. He just kind of vanilla. And at that time, I was headed down Addiction Road pretty heavy right then.
And what's your opinion of Sting's couple of large money appearances for WWE that he's had in recent years?
Hey, if you can get money out of Vince, go ahead, man, get it. Whatever, man. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that deserve a lot of things, man. I just don't know if it's the right people.
So you left WCW. Was that you leaving, or were you let go, or a combination of the two?
I left.
And it was just you didn't like how you're being used?
With Watts, well, the thing with Watts was once I sued WCW, that was the end of my time there, But I wanted to sue Bill Watts and get him fired, and that worked out.
So were you the one that brought up the racial comments?
No, I brought up the fact that Bill Watts had a payment plan there where he would pay you half your guarantee, and then he'd hold your money for 90 days, half of it. And at the end of the 90 days, if you performed the way he thought was right, he'd let you have the rest of it. That's bullshit, man. And so whenever he had the snake banned, I was furious. I seen what they were doing. They were going to destroy the character and destroy me, and that wasn't going to fucking happen. So I talked to my lawyer. My lawyer says, well, this Watts is a loose cannon. He said, what would happen if you went into rehab, checked yourself into rehab? I said, fuck, man, he'd fucking fire me in a fucking heartbeat and take the rest of my money. He said, well, let's do that. So we did that, and of course, right from there, we went to Equal Opportunity Employers and said, look, we're trying to do the right thing, We're looked up to by little kids. We wanted to get clean and sober, and this fucking guy is punishing me for that. So that's how I got the money back.
And after you left WCW, you spent some time working for Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain.
Yeah, short time.
What do you think of Jim Cornette?
He's entertaining.
Was he easy to work for?
Yeah, I have no problem with Jim.
And then you ended up, you did some stuff in Mexico and some independent stuff.
Yeah.
You ended up going back to WWE.
Yeah.
What led to your return to WWE?
They called me and wanted me to go to Royal Rumble in '96, and I did that. And due to the fans' reactions, I came back, and of course, my deal then was to go and work for the office and write, and that's what I did. And of course, that's where Steve Austin was born. So.
Now, I've heard you say in other interviews that you were one of the ones behind the scenes pushing for Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, I was probably the only one, because Vince didn't think he was the main event guy. Yeah.
And so was the Austin 316, was that just off the cuff?
Yeah, he did that off the cuff, and I was all for it, man. And, the only thing I regret is they didn't do Austin's 10 Commandments. They should have done that. Thou shalt not kill unless thou art pissed. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife unless she's really hot. Thou shalt honor thy mother and father unless they're dickheads. Right on down the line, you could have sold 1 billion of those shirts.
So what happened with that? It was a fairly brief run.
Yeah. I was going through a divorce with my wife, and I totally just fucking lost control, man. You know, I went off the deep end big time. Big time.
And you made a few appearances for ECW after that. What was your opinion of Paul Heyman and ECW?
None. I wasn't around it much. I didn't like the product they were doing. You know, I think I didn't like the way that some of the people were being treated, being paid.
You hear a lot that
I've
Paul
heard a
Heyman
lot.
is such a genius. Like, what do you think of all that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You think he gets too much credit?
He's a genius in one way or the other, and getting people to do things for him. I don't know, man.
Were you treated well as a talent?
Yeah. Paid real well. Paid real well.
And we won't get into the Beyond the Mat because
No.
it's out there, but Terry Funk was part of ECW, and you've lived in Amarillo. He's from Amarillo. What's your opinion of Terry Funk?
I've always loved Terry, man. I don't understand why some of the things happened the way they did with the Beyond the Mat crap. But, you know, forgive and forget and move on. I always thought Terry was one of the best workers ever, you know. And like many others, including myself, you know, we hang on too long, and he certainly has. And God, it's hard to put something down that you love the way we love this. And
a lot of fans from the United States don't know that you spent a few years wrestling in Europe and England, and particularly for Brian Dixon,
Oh,
who's a
God.
controversial promoter.
Controversial promoter. Who called him a promoter? A thief? Yes. Scum?
How did you end
Yes.
up there?
I knew somebody over there in England, and I just needed to get out of the States for a while and try to get my head back together. And I thought, well, maybe that might be a good thing to do, is to go over there and get away from some of the people I was around. And turns out it wasn't too good of an idea. I just got into whiskey then and made myself really miserable. Brian Dixon certainly had a lot to do with it. What a worthless piece of shit. You know, I mean,
A lot of travel in that territory.
he's just scum, man, and a thief. You know, and
Is that why you think he's been around so long in the UK, because of the way he treats his
yeah,
talent?
absolutely. He steals from everybody.
And in the early days of TNA, you made some appearances for
Yeah.
the company.
Got paid, that's it.
What's your opinion of the current state of TNA, whatever's left of it, and the product?
It's ridiculous, man. You know, that's one of the things that's bothered me for years. I've watched group after group after group go into TNA and just screw it up some more. And then Hogan screwed up some more. And this one screwed up some more. Everybody in the book has gotten a shot at that, except for who? Me. If I've got one of the best minds in the business, and I do, no doubt about that, ask Vince, ask anybody. I can put anything together. But I've never gotten the opportunity. And maybe that's a good thing.
Why do you think Vince Russo has gotten so many jobs over the years when it seems to be proven time after time that he just kills companies with his...
I don't know, man. You know, that's one of my problems. Some people are gifted at bullshit. And he's definitely gifted at bullshit, brother, because he keeps getting jobs and keeps getting the positions. I'm not a good politician. I know that's my problem, too. I know that I speak my mind, and that gets me in trouble, too, because you got to candy coat shit when you're dealing with TV people. But I just can't do it, man, and that's probably the reason I'm not back in the WWF, is because even the short time that I was doing the booking up there, Vince was constantly on me going, Jake, the perception is you know, these people are intimidated by you and they think that you think they're stupid. And I said, well, you know, Vince, I do think they're fucking stupid. They don't know a goddamn thing about wrestling and you're letting them fucking run shit. And that's not the way you deal business, you know. But,
do you think wrestling has a bright future due to some of these reasons that you mentioned?
yeah, no, it doesn't. You know, but I think wrestling's future is getting brighter because I think what's going to happen is there's going to be territories happen again. Eventually, it will happen, and when that happens, then the good things will start happening again. I really don't think that that's far off.
Right, because you feel that people will be sick of the big product.
Well, they're sick of Vince. Vince keeps cutting back. He's not fucking working much. And supply and demand, there's going to be territories happen again. You know, and I can't wait because I would love to see, you know, a Minneapolis, Chicago, you know, Milwaukee, blah, 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 you know, Toronto, Texas fucking area with Dallas and Houston and San Antonio. These are major fucking markets. And Vince is not going to them, not very often. So that leaves the door open.
Do you think Jeff Jarrett has any potential with this Global Force Wrestling?
No.
What do you think? We've heard about it for like 4 years.
Yeah. TNA Jeff Jarrett, whatever.
And you ended up being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014. Was that just a surprise phone call, or was there anything?
A surprise phone call. Yeah, sure was, man.
Any memories of that night in particular?
Oh yeah, man. Hoisted my grandson up, and he's my hero. I mean, him and his sister both came into this world weighing 1 pound and a few ounces, and they fought and scratched and clawed, and you know, that they're still surviving. And to finally get into the Hall of Fame, man, that was big for me. It really meant a lot to me. You know, and Vince had to forgive me for some shit before he let me in, you know, because you know, funny about a junkie and a drunk, they'll say things that aren't necessarily true, believe it or not.
And is there any particular reason why you didn't go back to WCW in the years after Bill Watts when Eric Bischoff was throwing money?
Yeah. Ted Turner has a policy that if you've sued him, you can't work for him.
Oh, okay.
So I fucked myself, didn't I?
And what's your opinion of Vince McMahon overall?
Brilliant. The hardest working motherfucker I know. You know, like him or not, it doesn't matter. He's the hardest working son of a bitch I know. He's done a lot for this business. He's done a lot of things that have hurt this business. But for somebody in his position, he's done pretty fucking good. And
you've been close with Scott Hall, I guess, over the past few years. How's he doing? And
up and down, man. You know, that's the way it works for us. You know, Scott's done real well for long periods of time, and then just when you think he's got it nipped in the bud, something else will happen. But that's the way it is with us, man. When I first went into Dallas, I struggled in the beginning. Scott did not struggle in the beginning. He nailed it off the get-go. But then 2 years later, he started struggling. So I just hope that both of us are able to pull through, you know, and it's a war every day, man. Addiction is not a game. It's a life or death situation, and
what's your best advice for someone struggling with addiction?
Get help. Get serious help, number one. Number two would be go on antabuse. Antabuse will keep you from drinking. If you can not drink, that's half the war. Very seldom did I do cocaine if I wasn't drinking. They went hand in hand. I can't imagine doing cocaine and not drinking because there's nothing to come down with or whatever. It'd be pretty fucking rough. But anyway, it doesn't matter there. It just look, you know, we as human beings ought to be smart enough to realize this fucking shit kills you. yet we still do it, and it's just a nasty animal, man, and addiction is cunning, baffling. It comes at you from every blind corner. It attacks you at your weakest place. It knows more about you than you know about yourself. It games your ass. And pride will get you killed in this situation, man.
And I'm just going to ask you about superstar Billy Graham, because we've done numerous interviews with him, and we'd just like to get your opinion of him.
I love him. I love him to death, man.
Are you happy to hear that he's recently been put back under WWE Legends contract?
Yeah, I'm glad, man. I'm real happy for that. I did not know that. I know we tried to help him when he got real sick out there in Denver. Dallas and I did. Dallas has helped many people. He's a patron saint, Dallas is. I mean, he really is, man. Not only wrestlers, he's helped so many people, man, with the DDP yoga and stuff, and it works, and it's for everybody. But for Billy to get back in there, man, I am very, very happy. I know he needs it, needs it desperately. You know, when your health goes, man, fuck, so do your pockets. Because, you know, Canada's got the U.S. on that shit, you know, because it takes a pretty shiny penny to provide health care for yourself, you know, and Vince getting away with calling us independent contractors. I don't fucking know how the fuck. But anyway.
And I'm just going to ask you about one more wrestler, because we talked about it off Abdullah the Butcher, and what's your opinion of him?
I don't respect Abdullah at all. You know, cutting yourself and cutting somebody else and bleeding on them and being sick and not telling people you're a piece of shit.
And the final thing I just want to ask is if there's anything you want to say to your fans that are going to watch this.
Anybody that's watching this because of me, damn, you must be bored. But you can check out Great North Wrestling, man, because they got some stuff going on that works, and they're solid. That means a lot to me, being solid and being real.
Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today is a very, very special guest. He's, of course, a WWE Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats, Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake, how you doing today, sir?
Oh, wet and wild, man, wet and wild.
Nice, I like that. So what is going on in your world? What have you been up to?
Oh, man, I am so busy, man. Been doing all sorts of things. A lot of signings are going on right now. About to crank out my last call tour on my comedy tour. That'll be starting soon. So, getting ready, man.
You're busier than ever now, right? It seems you're everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of Comic-Cons are in the mix. And, of course, I still work for AEW also.
What's the latest with that? Because we haven't seen you kind of around that much on TV. What's the latest with AEW?
I haven't been on TV because Lance has been hurt. And he's probably 2 weeks away from being fully ready to go again. Looking forward to that. Meantime, I'm doing backstage stuff like helping guys do interviews.
Oh, so you are going to the shows. Not like you're not a part of AEW. You still are going to shows.
Right, right.
Do you like that aspect of it? I know you've probably done that before many, many years ago, but do you like that aspect of it?
I like teaching, you know, and I like helping guys, watching them do it and watching their reaction when I can see it click in their head, they got it, you know, and that's pretty cool.
Is it hard for you, who's like the master of the promo, the master of psychology, to teach someone else? Because, you know, Michael Jordan wasn't necessarily a good coach. You know what I mean? Like guys like that, some guys could do it, some guys can't.
Right. I find it very easy to help people, man. You just got to be passionate about it and have the desire to do it.
When you are like teaching them promos and stuff, do you teach them like you got to find something within yourself? Because I always felt like with your promos, it was something, you know, something deeper there. It was like you could like look into your eyes and it's like he really truly means what he's saying. Is that like kind of what you're trying to portray to the guys? Like dig down deep?
I teach them how to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I do try to teach them how to do that. I also try to teach them how to come up with the material that they need for their promo. And bottom line is no screaming or shouting.
True. That's one thing about your promos that always fascinated me, and sometimes scared the shit out of me when I was younger. It would be like, wow, he doesn't yell like the typical, warrior or macho man. Somebody, I'm gonna freak out and go crazy. You never yelled in your promos.
Never had to. It wouldn't have done me much good to try. I guess back in 1977 or 78, a guy dropped a knee on my throat and it crushed my voice box. So this is about all that comes out. If I try to yell, this is about as loud as it gets.
Even back then, it just felt so natural for you, or it just fit your character perfectly that you wouldn't yell. Like it just, Jake the Snake. It just felt like, wow, this guy is so ominous. He doesn't need to yell. He just scares the hell out of you by just speaking in like normal tone.
It was a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much.
Where did you pull some of that stuff from? Is it like,
A
we
lot of
saw the A&E documentary and stuff, but is it from your past? Like, where do you pull that from?
from your past and from music. I got a lot of my words from music.
What kind of music did you listen to?
Oh, hard rock, rock and roll. Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, The Who. I got music. I got interviews from all those guys.
When you do those promos, right? Are you
Mm,
trying to I know sometimes you're a babyface, but sometimes you're a hero. Are you trying to like scare the audience? Because it's funny, like I look at a guy like The Undertaker back then. I know he didn't talk much, but he didn't scare me. Like
yeah,
you kind of scared me a little. You know what I mean? Like there's something about that, right? The way you carried yourself.
yeah. I wanted to scare you. I wanted to get your attention. I wanted to question you. I wanted you to have. I wanted you to question yourself to what you were hearing and what you were feeling.
To me, it was just like, wow, like trust me. Even when you in 91, 92, when you turn heel again and doing the trust me stuff, it's like, I don't trust this guy for a second. Like, what do you mean trust me? Like you know what I mean? It scares you.
Absolutely, man. That's what it was supposed to do.
Where did you get that from? Like the trust me stuff. I mean, it almost sounds like serial killer stuff, like trust me,
Yeah,
and
that was Vince and them. They came to me and said told me to use Trust Me, that they wanted, they wanted me to use that. So I did it.
came pretty natural. It seemed like, right?
Yeah, I did. It was easy.
When you're doing those promos, you know how they always say, "Oh, Vince or whoever, maybe Pat Patterson or Bruce or whoever the producer is, gives you pointers or lines." I know nowadays it's completely scripted. With you, did they give you bullet points and stuff, or they just let you roll with whatever you wanted?
They never give me bullet points. They just let me go. Even when I was doing the snake pit, they just said, do what you want to do. So
Do you
I
have a
did.
Do you have a favorite promo?
No, there's several that come to mind, but the one I did on DiBiase at WrestleMania 7, I think it was, or 6. Yeah, whichever one it was. That was pretty good.
Yeah, 6, the Muck of Everest. Yeah.
Of average. That was pretty sweet. And then some of the stuff that I did on Macho Man was pretty cold.
Man, that feud was one of my favorite feuds ever because it's like, okay, Jake is nuts, but Macho Man is nuts. And like both these guys are awesome at wrestling. They're also going to cut in promos. They could both really kind of, take their game to the next level. What was it like really working with him? I mean, was he intense or what?
No, he was over intense, man. He was on a different planet. Just trying to hold on to him and slow him down. That was my biggest problem. Because he was just guns out and blaring, man.
And I know it was on the A&E doc too, but you and that snake biting him, the cobra, really, I mean, biting
Yeah.
him in the arm. I mean, how do you kind of pitch that? I mean, that's just so crazy.
Well, they brought it to me. I didn't bring it to them.
So, like, meaning Vince or meaning Macho Man as far as the snake bite?
Vince and Macho came up with that idea.
So what do they say to you? Hey, you got this cobra. How about he bites me tonight, and you knock over Liz? Like, how does that go?
Yeah, basically. So he just brought it to me and said, "Yeah, we want the snake to bite him." I said, "No problem." No problem at all. Of course, Randy wanted the snake to bite me first. So he made that happen in the locker room. It was either the snake bites me or we fight. Because he just didn't believe that, he thought there was a possibility the snake wasn't fixed. Imagine that.
Devenomized, right? He means.
Right.
So what if it wasn't and it bit you? I mean, you'd be dead, right? I mean, is he crazy or what?
Kind of the thought. So he was going to make sure by letting it test out on me.
Wow. It's amazing because you think like, okay, the snake bit Randy Savage, but it's on TV. I mean, that's tough as nails. He's nuts for doing that. But you might be crazier for letting you do it not on camera where nobody could
Yeah,
see it.
absolutely. I let it bite me on the leg.
What did that feel like? Pure pain or what?
That bad. It just kind of freaks you out when you look down there and see an animal chewing on you, you know? That kind of bothers you.
Man, it's just think about that. Like for wrestling, it's like, what do we want to do for TV? Macho Man's like, hey, have the snake bite me, but it's got to bite Jake first, or I'm not doing it. Like, how
Right.
crazy is the business? Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty far out there, but I went ahead and did it, man. Made him comfortable, so it was all right.
Man, that was 30 plus years ago. You can't
Yeah.
forget. You literally cannot forget it.
No, it never will be forgotten, I don't think.
What did he think though? Like when it was biting him and you couldn't get it off? Was he complaining at all?
He was complaining, yeah. Get that motherfucker off of me. I
Oh
remember
man,
I leaned over and said, Randy, you're doing a good job selling it, man. Get this motherfucker off of me.
that's great. Oh man, because it's like, wow, Jake is sadistic. You know what I mean? Like he's not
Oh,
getting the snake off of him.
I was real sadistic. I was enjoying the shit out of it. Are you kidding me?
When you look at that feud too, and Liz, it's like crazy to think you wouldn't be able to get it nowadays, but you got almost like physical with her. Like you knocked her over, you pushed her, slapped her a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
that was kind of crazy.
it went to the edge for sure. You know, it really did. It pushed the edge.
Was that Macho Man's idea again to do that?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Liz was okay with that.
yeah, she was, man. She was a trooper.
I don't know if nowadays, you can get away with that. You know what I mean?
Good. I wouldn't want to be the guy trying it. I know that.
When you look back at the day, and you mentioned the snake pit before, I think maybe one of the most famous snake pits is you and Hogan. But then it's almost like,
Yeah.
what happened to that, right? I mean, where did that go? You Hulk Hogan. So what did happen? What is like the true story behind the Hulk Hogan Jake Roberts feud?
Well, the problem was the fans. You know, I remember dropping him with the DDT on the set and coming to the back, and Vince says, stand right here by me. In about 20 seconds, the fans are going to start chanting Hulkster. He'll come to his feet and he'll rip his shirt off and he'll go crazy and he'll be looking for you. And you guys are going to make so much damn money in the next 6 months. It's unreal. I'm like, fuck yeah, man, fuck yeah. And we stood there and we stood there and we stood there. And finally, after about a minute, the fans started chanting, all right. They started chanting DDT, DDT, DDT. And Vince looked at me and he goes, fuck that, that'll never happen. So it happened twice and that was it. And both of them were sellouts. But the problem being, they weren't about to touch the marketing of Hogan, you know. So I was screwed.
It's almost as if they got so excited that you were feuding with Hogan, but they turned to you, like they wanted you.
Yeah,
Let's say the crowd is even 50-50 split. Vince would be against it, right?
yeah, yeah. It was
How did
over. It was over 50-50 though.
how would you say? Like, what would be the percentage?
I'd say 70.
Wow, 70-30 you versus Hulk.
Yeah, 65, 70.
can't risk it, right?
No, couldn't risk it, man. It
I mean,
broke my, cost me a lot of damn money, man.
right? I mean, if you're feuding with Hulk, right? I mean, he's the number one guy. He's the top guy. You're going to be probably making the most money worth versus Hulk.
Yep, been rolling in millions.
So basically, Vince was saying it's going to be a 6-month program. Like, where was it going to lead to? What was it going to do? Pay per view or something?
Yeah, sure. Pay-per-views, everything, man. If it had worked.
So basically, it doesn't happen. So not feuding with Hulk cost you money. Is basically what you're saying.
Big money. Big money. But it happens from time to time, but I'm not going to complain too much.
What do you think happened though? Like just that the crowd just they loved you so much, even though Hogan's the top guy, they just
Yeah.
fell in love with you.
I think they believed in the DDT. You know, you got to remember I dropped Steamboat with it. You know, he killed him. And now I've dropped Hogan too. I was the baddest son of a bitch on the planet. You know, and sometimes, you know, the last thing the fan wants to do is chant for a guy that's going to lose, right? Nobody wants to back a loser. Well, every now and then a guy will come along that just you can't see him losing. Well, they're going to get behind that guy. You know, I think you've seen it with Brock Lesnar. I think you've seen it with The Undertaker. Certainly seen it with Steve Austin. So no matter how hard you try to keep them a heel, you can't. Just can't do it.
Yeah, they basically turned you babyface not that long after that.
Absolutely.
Do you know how many times did you actually work Hogan? Was it only those 3 times basically in the Northeast? It was basically like almost like a Providence run.
It was Providence, and then it was Montreal, and that was it. That was it.
So just those 2 matches that Vince saw what he needed to see, and I'm cutting this short.
Yeah.
That would not be good if you think about it. Like, you don't want to kill the golden goose, right? If you're Vince.
No, that was the whole thing, man.
What did you think of Hulk? Just the person, the wrestler, the ambiance of Hogan.
I was fine with him, man. I didn't have a problem with Hulk. I mean, I think he did a fabulous job of being who he was. You know, and he carried that company for a long time. And then he went other places and carried those companies for a long time. So anybody that says Hulk Hogan couldn't work is a fool. You know, he may not went out there and done all the things that these kids are doing today, but he didn't have to, did he?
Nope.
You know, he could beat his chest and point his finger, and that was enough for everybody.
It's true.
So I think he was a great champion, a great champion.
I always laugh when people are like, I wasn't that good of a worker. He could literally point, right? And the crowd would go nuts.
Yeah.
And somebody does a Canadian Destroyer, no reaction.
That's it. What's wrong with that, huh?
Yeah. And what's that great Bobby Heenan line? A good worker is the guy that puts asses 18 inches apart from each other around a building.
That's right.
It's definitely true. But with you, they turn your face after that. It's so funny because like I'm scared of you, but then you're so intrigued by you, and then you get scared by you again. It is funny, like the way you kind of went with the WWF. It's like he's a heel, but you liked him. Then he's a baby face, but then we wanted you to be heel again. What did you think about that? I mean, the crowd always kind of I don't know they liked you, but they were always kind of nervous about you. Like I don't know if we could trust him.
You know, it's fine with me. I was always taught that you go out there and see what the hell the people want. And then you try to give it to them, or try your best to give it to them, and that's what I did. You know, I mean, it didn't matter to me if they cheered me or if they booed me. I was going to go out and wrestle the same exact way as I would, no matter what they said.
I was always impressed.
Did horrible things to people as a baby face.
It's true, yeah. I mean, definitely. It's funny, like the DiBiase feud. If you really look at it, like yes, DiBiase's an asshole. He's a rich guy. He's
Yeah,
he's got Virgil, and and he's doing all this stuff with money. But it's great. You're kind of doing the same thing back to him and stealing his belt, and you know what I mean. You're doing evil
yeah.
things too.
Doing evil things all the time, pulling his hair, pulling his tights, whatever it took.
When the DDT it gets over,
Yeah,
that's kind of like I don't know, one of those moves that they overdo now, but like back then it was unbelievable. Like the DDT,
yeah,
it's a finisher. Does that
yeah.
bother you at all? That like we fast forward all these years and they kind of use it as a high spot?
It doesn't bother me at all because it just keeps my name in the mix, number one, and it brings me up. And number two, the fans watching, they watch it and they say, when Jake Roberts did that shit to you, you didn't get up. So that Jake must be a bad son of a bitch. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, me and my friends always joke around. It's like Jake did it the best. That's why the other guys aren't doing it as good.
No, they're not. They don't know how to do it.
How is it different? Because it definitely is. I mean, you're kind of snapping them down, right?
It's the whole key is your left leg. You take your left leg and you step back and then you kick it through. That's what gives you the speed to come down. And all the guys today, they'll hook it, but then they hop. I never hopped. I never hopped and fell. No. My thing was a real snap to it. And it's because I'd kick that leg through real fast.
Yeah, it's funny. You're right because all the guys they do that little jump
Right.
hop or whatever. Yeah, and it has no impact. Yeah,
None. None at all.
so true. And obviously Steamboat knows that all too well. And obviously, I think you even said to him, "Hey, maybe not do it on the outside."
I said not to do it, man. I said, I can't do it. It's going to fuck you up. And I was right.
He was dead weight when you picked him up.
It was. I just watched that back here the other day, and then I watched a couple of his promos afterwards. And it had been like 2 weeks, but his forehead was still swollen. His forehead was black and blue. His eyes were black, blue. It messed him up.
I'm surprised that he was like, "Yes, it'll be okay." Like knowing the move and knowing how we have to execute it.
He thought he could get his hands down and block it in time, but he couldn't.
Was there ever any heat with you about it? Because I mean, you did
Oh,
try to
no.
warn him.
No, none at all. None at all.
Man, he was knocked out, like legit for a while, because you could
Oh,
tell when
yeah.
you try to get him in the ring, you're having a problem getting him
Oh,
in.
I nearly killed myself getting him in the ring.
Oh man, it's crazy. If you, I don't know, it's crazy with your career too. It's like if you look back, it's like okay, like the Steamboat DDT, like the Honky Tonk feud, like so many things with you just stick out. Alice Cooper with you, DiBiase and you, Undertaker and you. Do you ever look back and say like, wow, like I kind of not only left your mark, but I mean you really were an important part of so many different guys' career of not only elevating them but like keeping them on top.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my job. That was my job. I mean, Rick Rude, even Brad News Brown,
Yep.
and crap, man, Earthquake, everybody. I was there to make them better, and that's what I did.
Absolutely. Is that something that Vince says to you? Like, hey, you're in this role, like you're a stalwart. You're so over. We need you to help other guys get over, or is that something you just understood?
No, I understood it, but he also talked to me about it. He told
And
me
you
what
were
it was.
and you were okay with that?
Did I have a choice?
No. Yeah, true. No.
Let me think here. I can keep the position I got and do seven figures, or I can get pissed off and threaten to quit and drop my money by 2/3. Let me think about that. No, I'll do what they want.
Did you ever want to be WWF World Champion?
It would have been okay, but maybe that's where I'm wrong. I've always had the feeling that I was there to make the rest of the party as good as I could, to be a part of the whole picture. I never have seen myself as the guy. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. Maybe I think that's probably an issue that comes from my childhood, not being good enough, that sort of thing. So that's definitely a weakness I had, for sure.
When you do the A&E documentary and you're talking about your childhood, great documentary, by the way. I loved it. Is it hard for you to kind of go back and relive it? Like, oh, I got to relive this again. Is that rough for you?
It is. It's not as bad as it used to be, because I've talked about it many times, and the reason I do talk about it is to make myself better and to help others that are in the same spot that I'm in. That's the main focus of the thing, is to help others. If I can help, Joe and Jimmy and Billy Joe and Don over here get over their bullshit and become a better human being, then this is well worth it. And I'm positive it's helped a lot of people, no doubt.
Definitely. It's of course, with DDP, the resurrection of Jake the Snake. I mean, that was unbelievable, that documentary.
It helped millions, man. Literally helped millions of people. I get thank you cards all the time from people that got sober, even people that they were in a family of alcoholics. They understood the alcoholic better after watching it. They understood the disease more. And that's key, man. That's really key. It is a horrible disease. Unfortunately, it does happen. It does destroy families. Leaves nothing but garbage and trash behind and broken homes. And I'm just grateful that I lived long enough to get over it and get a chance to enjoy some of the good times,
Yep.
Because I'm certainly enjoying the good times now.
I love it. Still a part of the business, like you said. I mean, you're still doing the podcast too. You're doing. I mean, like, still a huge part of the business. That's awesome to see and to hear.
Still got my place, man.
How is the podcast going? Do you enjoy kind of going over the wrestling stuff? I know, because you talk about it a lot.
Yeah, we go back and relive stuff and talk about it and have a few laughs. Yeah, I have a great time, and the boy that's helping me does a great job. He does a phenomenal job. Marcus, he's class act.
My buddy Kevin Sullivan, and your buddy too,
Yeah,
said he was on your show not that long ago. He said he loved reminiscing about the old days.
yeah, yeah. He came in and did a show for me while I was out of town.
Love it. That's awesome. Did you? Because he's saying no, but did you get the idea for the snake from him at all? Remember in Florida, he
No,
had the snake. Did you get? No, not from him. Okay.
no.
Where does that come from? Just was that just because it's Jake the Snake? It's just because it rhymes, or was there something else?
I was going to use it on this guy that was kicking my ass in Louisiana in Mid-South days. It was Lord Humongous, and he had that hockey mask. And, in those old days, we had a lot of slicing and dicing going on. And I was starting to look like hamburger meat. And I came up with the idea of, bringing a snake in a bag, and that would be his weakness. But they give it a thumbs down. Bill Watson, all of his wisdom. Watts.
Well, Vince McMahon was smart enough to realize, like, this is money, money, money. Jake the Snake is going to be carrying a snake.
Yeah, he understood the marketing end of it, man.
Yep. I just can't believe, like, looking at it, and you've mentioned this before, that you actually didn't like snakes. I was shocked to hear that.
Terrified of the damn things, man.
Wow, because I mean, you're kissing them, you're hugging them, you're letting them go around you. I can't believe that.
It's really strange, I'd be sitting there in the back and I'd be scared to death. But as soon as that bell rang, there's no fear. Then I have no problem at all. I just go out and do it. It's not a choice. Go out and do it. Do it to the best of your ability.
Because I was mentioning that to Kevin. He goes, no, he doesn't like snakes or whatever. And I was like, I know, isn't that so weird? I was seeing the documentary and he's saying he hates snakes. And I said, this guy literally was kissing the snake and letting him hiss on him and all this other stuff. And he's like, no, I hate snakes. I was like, no way, he loves him. He's like, nope, hates him.
Just goes to show you what a sick fuck I really am.
True. Well, as we wind it down, though, we head towards the finish. I'm just curious of in your mind, because in my mind, one of the all-time greats. I mean, a WWE Hall of Famer. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You helped so many careers. Helped Undertaker along, who obviously had a 30-year run into the main event of WWE. Helped Stone Cold Steve Austin along, who kind of needed something at that point. Right. Despite what people say, he actually was good, but he just needed something, a little push. So the Austin 316 is kind of your doing, whether people want to admit it or not. It definitely is. What do you think your legacy is? Because to me, it's more grandiose than maybe people realize.
I have no idea, man. I'm gonna let those guys out there make it. I got a book that's going to be coming out very soon, and I hope people enjoy it. Hope they get a lot out of it. It's going to be out probably another 2 months, but I don't know. There's a lot of good things in front of me. I'm not gonna shut the door on anything yet. I've still got a lot left in me. And I appreciate you letting me be on the show and showing me a good time.
A guy I'm happy to say is my friend and our guest here today live on Talking Tough, Jake the Snake Roberts. Hey, Jake.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. You and I didn't really prep for this. We talked a little bit about it. And, of course, we'll go into some stuff that's pro wrestling related. I think it's expected by people that are watching. And plus, it's stuff that from a fan, I'm always a fan and always will be, stuff that I'm going to want to know. But what I want to talk about is, you, the man, the person, your journey, where you are today. And you've been an open book, man. I do the same thing. People oftentimes go, man, I can't believe you shared what you shared. But hopefully we're not playing the poor me game. We're hopefully inspiring, motivating, giving strength, hope, and experience. How does it feel, man, to be in the role of a guru all of a sudden? That's how I see you now.
Well, people can call me what they want. I'm doing this to save me. I found out that if I was going to survive, I had to get real. And the only way you can get real, man, is by exposing all your weaknesses, all your failures, all your pain. You got to put it all out there, man, because secrets will kill you. That's what I found out. The secrets in my life were causing me to react in the wrong way. I would drink, I would drug, anything to medicate it, to make it go away, those secrets. So to get better, I had to expose myself and become that open book. And that's when I started to heal. That things could get better. That things weren't over. Because there was for a long time that I'd have given up. I was ready to die. Hell, I was begging to die.
You talked about that.
I would hear about somebody dying. Every time I'd hear about somebody dying, man, I'd get pissed off and curse God and say, why not me? Man, I was dying to die, And, but once I started talking about my problems, talking about my life, about the real me, not the stuff that you get on television, that's when I started to get better. And the more I put out there, the better I got. And then all of a sudden, I've got people coming to me saying, "Thank you, Jake, for talking about that." Oh my God, that's fuel to the fire now, and because I found out through all my years of getting high, the best high I've ever gotten is the one that someone gave me when they thanked me, when they showed me appreciation for helping them. I often talk about my favorite one, and I get letters all the time from kids and wives and moms and dads when they thanking me for helping their child or their significant other get through a point in their life. And I had a 9-year-old boy thank me for helping his dad get it to where he could come back home. Man, that was such an awesome feeling. I had a lady come to me on the cruise, a Jericho cruise, and she told me, she said, "My husband drank for 50 years. And he's seen your thing, and he quit drinking." I said, "Well, Jesus, where's he at?" "Well, unfortunately, he died in a car wreck 2 months ago, but I had 7 months of him being sober. And it was the best 7 months of my life." Dude.
And it's amazing for you to feel that, to hear that. Yeah, because you had that influence, that profound effect.
Don't we all want to make a difference on this planet? I mean, I used to want to make a difference by what I did in the ring. Well, guess what? That didn't work. I mean, yeah, it worked for a period of time, for a moment, but it wasn't something that was going to live on even after I'm gone.
I've got this gimmick. Oh, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I've got this little gimmick, although it's not a gimmick, where I don't know if you spend much time on social media, but people these days, they're pouring their hearts out on social media. And I tend to be drawn to that stuff, people that are really in trouble. And 3 to 4 times a week, and look, I'm nobody. I'm not famous. People know, I've heard of the F list. I'm like the G list, if that even exists. But I'll write, and this is sort of, and it sounds like I'm being annoyingly self-deprecating, but that's how I see myself. I'll write to people that I see on Facebook that are in trouble saying, "Hey, this is probably not any of my business, but call me anytime. I would love to talk with you." And I'll have 3 to 4 conversations a week with strangers. And it's amazing, man. They say when we do charity, it helps 2 people, the person you're giving to, and it helps ourselves too. I'm not doing it for that reason, but
certainly does.
But you're right, man. Nothing feels better than that. That's for sure.
That's the one.
Do you feel?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask how much pressure, if any, you put on yourself then to stay straight. We have similar journeys, like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, and eventually, hopefully, it goes the other way.
I'm the point now, man, and I'm so grateful for this, that I haven't had an urge at all, man, in years.
Wow.
I've got 10 years now, and I haven't had an urge for anything in the last 6 years. I kind of made a joke, man. I was somewhere, I can't remember where, I was at a comedy show I was doing, and the guy come to me and he said, "Hey, man," he says, "I got an extra 8-ball. He says, I just want to hook you up, man, because you were great out there." I'm like, "Dude, where were you 10 years ago when I needed you, And I just told him, he said, "Not anymore, brother." And he's like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No, man." I said, "This is for real, bro." And I just laughed about it because I thought, 10 years ago, man, he'd been my best friend.
Oh, God, hell yeah, man. And,
it drives me, it's funny how things like that come up, people offering to buy you drinks now that you don't drink, and I'm like, "No, man, that's cool. That's all good."
I got to imagine it's always been that way for you, Jake. And one thing I don't do on this podcast, and I want to say this, I don't sit here and like blow smoke up people's asses or try to kiss up to them. But so I hope you'll take the following as sincere. There's something about you, and I would say Roddy. I was very close with Roddy as well. The two of you guys had a special charisma that I always thought it exceeded the rest. Now that was in my viewpoint as a fan. I remember in the mid '80s, and I started Sting and Warrior, as you know, in the mid '80s, and I was in the business for a minute, and I got out and became a fan again. I remember being in Denver. We're living there when you guys came through, and I was an agent at an agency, and I went with the other three agents who were all these beautiful females, and man, all three of them, and these are like straight chicks, seemingly straight chicks, and all three of them were talking about how they wanted to bang Jake the Snake Roberts, and I'm like,
where are they now?
Well,
just like the guy with the dough. Where are they now?
Just like the guy with the 8 ball, right? Well, maybe we get all four of them together and see what's up. I don't know, but did you live that sex, drugs, and rock and roll star deal? Was it that crazy for you?
I did for a long time. Man. And I'm going to tell you, the truth is that ruined my sex life. It got to a point, man, that, it went from being once a night to twice a night, then twice a night to two times, but with two different chicks.
Of course.
And
yes.
I had to add this and I had to add that. And the next thing I know, I've got there's got to be two chicks. I've got to bring in a clown and a donkey. And, we'll go from there, And it just got so outrageous because, you're always looking for something to click your mind, to get you going, to get you in the mood, if you will. And I was looking for things outside of a real relationship to get me going, whether it be drugs or just strange things or whatever my mind can come up with. And then what happens is it gets to a point that when you go home and you've got your significant other there, all of a sudden you can't get in the game.
What's left? Yeah, I've been there to see it all.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what I do? I remember one night, man, I shot myself in my penis with testosterone.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, God, did that hurt.
What was your thought process behind that? I've got to ask you, man.
I was, because my old lady was to the point, if you don't do something, I'm going to know you've been screwing around.
Oh, you were on the spot. Okay.
Yeah. And I tried that. And boy, that did not work, but God damn, it hurt. Holy crap, that shit hurt.
It's hurting me even thinking about it, man. So the drugs and the alcohol, thankfully, are a thing of the past. No more urges. Is there is there a significant other in the future? What do you think? What do you hope?
So, man,
Okay.
my greatest fear, no, without a doubt, is dying alone.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. And I feel like I have a lot to offer someone. But my life was so screwed up in the beginning, man. My dad raping my mother, having me at the age of 13, being molested by my stepmother, a lot of anger towards women. I didn't trust women. And it just kept going in my life. It just seemed to happen like that. And then as I got to be 30, 40 years old, I had such a distrust built into me that if things started getting good with the chick, I had to do something to screw it up. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely know what you're saying.
I had to have them mad. I wanted to screw them over before they got to me.
So, go on, please.
It ruined a lot of relationships, man, that I had an opportunity to have something good. I really hope that in the future there's somebody that comes along that, will accept me as I am and and maybe it'll happen.
You know, I know
Maybe it
we've
will.
had for all the
If
eligible
it
ladies
doesn't,
out.
that's okay too.
Yeah.
Well, just be careful what you ask for. That's all I can tell them.
You just might get it. I know we've had a couple of brief conversations about that, man. And I thought they were pretty cool guy-to-guy talks about what's happening with the females in our life and what's not talking. So,
Yeah.
or what's not happening. So I want to say this to the eligible bachelorettes out there. Yeah, I loved hearing where you were. I mean, it sounded like, hopefully this applies to both of us, that we're at a point in our life where it's just about love and respect and not the donkeys and the clowns anymore, thank God.
No, man, none of that shit no more, man. I just want somebody I can spoon with, man. Somebody that when I wake up the next morning, I'm glad I'm there. You know what I mean?
I do. That's perfect.
Not ashamed, not afraid, not angry. Somebody that I can be gentle with and shower them with whatever I can. And just yeah, man.
I think of talking with you about it in the here and here now that's so right on. I know that you've gone through the 12-step program to a degree at least, right?
Oh yeah.
So did you do that?
A couple of steps.
Did you do the sex inventory? Do you remember that part? In the fourth step?
I got right with the 12-step program, but the 12-step program is not really what got me out, man.
So what is it then?
What got me out was hope. And, when I came to stay with Dallas, I was at such a dark, dark place. I'd given up for sure, wanted to die. Had not seen a good thing happen to myself in a couple of years. Nothing positive happening in my life. And in a very short time, I started losing weight. And that was such a high for me to actually say, oh my God, I can do something. And I kept working at it. And the weight came off of me. And I started feeling better. And I started having positive thoughts. But I still had a wall up. And I can remember clear as a bell, man, Dallas making me go in front of a mirror and look in the mirror and say, hey, man, I like you. And it took me about 6 months to do that, because I had so much hate for myself because of my failures, because of my mistakes. I tell people the hardest thing about drinking and drugging is not quitting. That's not the hardest thing. The hardest thing is forgiving yourself.
Without, I was going to ask, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 on self-forgiveness? Are you there, or do you backslide on that at all?
I still backslide on that a bit. And I still have some pretty horrible dreams where I remember some of the horrible shit that I did, and I just have not let it go, and maybe that's a good thing, because maybe if I didn't have that, I might backslide in some other way. I don't know.
Well, all we can do.
I just know this right now, that I'm the happiest I've been in 15, 20 years.
That's I love to hear that, and I want to take a second here and be kind of preachy to the audience. Most people, I think, on here, if not everybody, has seen Resurrection of Jake the Snake. They know your story, and we hear about rock bottoms all the time, and we're not measuring. It's not a dick measuring contest, but I would say your bottom is about as far down as somebody can fall. And I want to point out to anybody watching out, so there's a lot of people out there suffering. Look at Jake. Here's a guy who has been at the depths of the bottom, and you just heard he is a happy person these days, man. It can happen for all of us.
Yeah, man.
So if somebody out there, Jake, is having trouble with self-forgiveness, what do you tell them?
if God can forgive you, who are you not to forgive yourself?
Hell yeah. Yep.
That's what I keep telling myself. People just need to realize that we are human. But those memories, they're going to fly back at you, man. But maybe, like I said, maybe those are there for a reason. Maybe they're there for a reality check to keep you in line, to keep you toeing the line. I mean, I have bad nights and then I have great nights, man. I mean, are you kidding me? And 10 years ago, I didn't have anything but shit nights, you know? And, wow, I mean, I think back 10 years ago what I was doing, I'm like, oh my God. I was doing an 8 ball a day every friggin' day, man.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
At least an 8 ball.
Wow.
And I was smoking it. And I was drinking on top of that. And it's a wonder that I'm not in prison, man. It really is. You know, because I damn sure did more than enough to get there. But I guess God had something else for me to do, you know, and he kept me just out of prison. Really did, man, because damn, man.
You're doing it right now.
The place, I should be dead, man. The places and things that I did. I mean, I remember stealing a car one time in Puerto Rico because it was 3 o'clock in the morning and the taxis wouldn't take you down to the drug section of town. They said, no, you can't go down there after dark. So I hot-wired a car in a hotel and drove down there. And it was a one-way street. And I went down the street and every now and then as I passed a house, I'd look up and I'd see somebody coming out with an automatic weapon. And I got to the end and they surround my car and I hear they're loading up, man, you know, and I'm like, hey man, I just want some fucking shit, man. And they're like, Jake the Snake Roberts, the wrestler? I'm like, yeah, dude, you know me. And the guy's like, amigo, I don't care. You come here at night, you die. I'm like, fuck you, just give me my dope, man. So he wound up saying, I'm like, I can't believe this here. Take this, it's on me. But we're going to keep your car. I'm like, okay, no problem. You know? And I walked back to the hotel, man. I mean, that's insanity.
They give you a ride back at least? Jeez, that is crazy, man. That is crazy.
I didn't mind walking. I had a pipe. I just kept smoking.
All good. All about Jake. That is crazy. I want to ask you something else about forgiveness. We talked about self-forgiveness, and I want to get on to like forgiveness of others for a moment, because I know you've had your battles with others in the industry and in life. And I read about, I read an article about you talking with Warrior at when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm going to ask you for your help with something, if you don't mind. I started Warrior in the business. We had a bad falling out, and he and I never got the chance to reconcile. So you reconciled with him. Is that right? I would like help to get there myself now that he's passed.
Yeah, I did, man. Well, I reconciled with him, man, because I was going to beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to jump him at the induction. And the first day we got there, we had to go and do the walkthrough stuff. And he caught me off guard, man. And I turned around, he was right there. And he's like, Jake, I just want to tell you, I'm so sorry for screwing you over. I cost you so much money, man. He goes, all I can tell you is I'm so fucking sorry I was that way. And it totally disarmed me.
I'll bet. Sure.
Well, you see, we had words before we did the angle. I was in Orlando, and one of the agents tells me, hey, Vince is on the phone for you. I'm like, oh, fuck, what have I done now? And I went to the phone, and it was Vince, and he's like, Vince says, Jake, you need to go to Warrior's dressing room and talk to him about doing an angle with you and him. I'm like, you want me to come up with the idea? No, just ask him for his permission to wrestle him.
Oh, God. All right.
Are you fucking serious?
Me.
You've got to talk him into wrestling you. I'm like, wow. Are you fucked? Oh, my God. So I hung up. And I cooled off, and I went down there, and I played the game. I knocked on the door. Knocked again. Started to walk off, and he jerks the door open. Yeah, what do you want? I'm like, I'd like to talk to you. He goes, come in here. So I went in, and he says, what do you want? I'm like, man, I'd like to work with you, man. I think we could do some business. And he's tying his shoes up and stuff, and he just stops, and he throws his shit in the floor, and he goes, let me tell you one thing. I don't give a fuck about you, your problems, or your family. Fuck all of them. You better show up on time and be ready to fucking bump.
Right.
And I just looked at him and I said, I'll fucking be there, man. Okay, get the fuck out. Yeah. So what happens is we shoot all those vignettes. I take 6 weeks off. We're going to SummerSlam. And after SummerSlam, it's going to be me and him. That's going to be my big run in New York. What happens? He gets fired at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Because he held Vince McMahon up for $1 million.
Right.
So he came back through the door there at the Garden, and Vince said, you're fucking fired. Get your shit and get out. Vince looked right at me, and he goes, you got the worst fucking luck.
Right. Wow.
Well, what did I do? I didn't do a fucking thing.
You were cooperating, man. Yeah. Holy shit. So when he apologized to you at the Hall of Fame, was he sincere? Yeah. Did it feel sincere?
He was very, very sincere, and he went further I thought he would ever go. He wanted to meet my family, wanted to meet my grandkids, and he introduced himself to my boys and told them how great I was, and then played with my grandkids.
Nice.
Wanted to take pictures with them. I couldn't fucking believe it, man.
Well, I'm happy
I
to
understood
hear.
it later. I understood it later. You know, but I found out later that he apologized to several people that weekend.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He knew he was dying, man.
Yeah.
He knew what was going on.
So
and I hate the thing with his daughters watching him die in the parking lot.
Oh God, I know that's awful.
Man.
Yeah, as much as I had not reconciled my feelings about him, I felt for that. No children should ever have to witness that.
You can't hate the kids, man. You know.
Anybody else out there that you've got fences to mend with in the industry, or is your slate clean these days?
As far as I'm concerned, it's clean. I think the only other 2 people I had any problem with are dead. So there you go.
Okay. Now, you know, Dallas did me a huge favor a few years ago. I was getting ready to put my book out, and it's not a wrestling book, because who am I to put out a wrestling book? But there's a chapter about pro wrestling in there. And I have a little section that I called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Pro Wrestling. And at the end of it, I had a list of who was good and who was bad. And Paige says to me, you can imagine, right? Paige says to me, dude, he goes, you can't put that out there. And we went back and forth on that. And I'm like, I know it's bad business, right? He goes, fuck that. He goes, yeah, it's bad business, but just think about what it says about you as a person that you would even think that way, and then advertise the fact you would think that way. And, you know, I intellectually, I understood it intellectually. And I took this section out, And it took me like another 3 or 4 years, though, to really, like, as I say, to go from the head to the heart, to really to feel and understand the concept of forgiveness. But I think Paige set me in that direction. So I just thought I'd mention that since you're in his house at the moment.
He's got a way of doing that, man. I mean, Dallas is no angel, okay? He's done his shit too, but he's real big about making amends, man, and about being right, you know. And I just found out that if I'm going to think good of myself, I've got to do good things, you know.
Absolutely,
and that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me, you know. And for me, it's just easier being a kind person. It takes too much work to be mean and ugly these days.
You know, it's like,
because you really
without question,
really a special asshole
but think how easy
to be noticed for being an asshole.
Without question, and I agree. But think how easy it used to be mean and ugly. That was easier then. And you know what I find is, like, I almost call it going to the spiritual gym, because for the longest time I had to force myself to be nice. I'm like, when I go out today, I'm going to force myself to be nice to the first 5 people I come across. And then the more I did that, then it becomes part of who you are. Thank God. You know, still a journey. I'll never be able to get there. But I feel you on that, man, for sure.
I mean, you can be kind without being stupid.
That too.
You don't have to drop your pants and bend over and take it up the ass. No, but you can be good to people, man. You can be kind to people. You can avoid bullshit too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I avoid bullshit. You know, if I smell shit, I keep away from it.
Yep. That's making better decisions, isn't it? Who we associate ourselves with.
Yeah, sure it is, man. It's making better decisions. Pick your fights, man. Pick your fights. There's some people that you just can't win with because they're hell bent on being losers. They're hell bent on being miserable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
that's
give it a shot. If it burns, walk away.
No, man, that's words of wisdom. And I'm sitting here nodding because I'm thinking about situations going on in my own life where I kind of have this like fear of abandonment thing going on, which comes from my childhood. So I try to my own detriment sometimes to mend fences that probably are not meant to be mended. And I'll try too hard because I have this need to not be separated from others. But I'm listening to you right now going, yeah, you are so right.
Same here.
Give it your best and back off, right? Yeah.
You got to learn, man. There's one thing about this pandemic. I am so impressed and so excited about 85% of the people, I think, are really being good and genuine and loving and caring. You know, there's always going to be a percentage that are just dicks. You can't keep from it. But I am so happy with the way the American people have pulled together, corporations, non-corporations. I'm still kind of disgusted with the Republican Democrat horse shit that goes on.
That's the only problem I'm having. Otherwise, I'm with you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're still pulling these games and strings, and you're trying to impeach somebody that's going to be out in so many months. Why don't you just shut the fuck up and make do? You know, instead of wasting 20 or 30 million or 100 million on impeaching somebody that's going to be there for the next 6 months anyway. So shut the fuck up and get in the car. So, myself, without going into politics, I love Trump, man. You know, I'm his favorite wrestler.
Yeah, you know him from that. I had a meeting with him in his office in '86 with these 3 football players from the Denver Broncos called the Three Amigos. And we were in New York. These guys were very hot. I was managing them. So I called his office and just requested a meeting. And the assistant called back and said, sure, come meet him. So we went and said hello. We had no agenda. He thought it was cool. We thought it was cool. I'm not political, and I don't talk politics. Not saying what side I'm on because that doesn't matter. I'm with you. I believe in the fundamental goodness of people, and I think for the most part that's coming out right now.
Yeah, I like it, man.
Nice. It's nice to see that these days.
Someday when you got a long minute, I'll tell you a great story, man. Because if a couple of things had happened, I'd be in the White House with him right now.
You can tell that story now if you're so inclined.
No, I'm going to save it for my book.
When is your book coming out?
Well, hopefully in the next 4 months with this pandemic shit screwing some things up. It's written. I wrote it all myself.
Yeah.
It's about 600 pages.
All right. What's it called?
It's the first half of my life. I haven't named it yet.
Okay. You know, I didn't mention to you. I Googled the other day. Because you told me you had a book coming out. So I was wondering if anything was out there on it yet. And I Googled Jake Roberts' book. Have you ever Googled that before?
Yeah.
I had to ask you this question, and I swear I'm not making this up. There's a book called Sex Addiction, Get on the Road to Recovery and Learn to Live and Love Again by Jake Roberts. Is that you?
Nope.
It should be, right? Wow. I'm not making this up, man. I'm not making that up. So
I'll have to check that out, man.
I didn't think it was you, but I had to ask. All right.
No,
but
it may have been somebody that took a bunch of quotes of mine and put it in a book, but I don't know.
There you go. And we probably just sold some books for this guy too. I'll bet you. We may have to ask for a royalty on that.
Yeah, probably.
So your book,
no doubt.
So the first half, 600 pages, and it's autobiography then.
Yeah. It's I think it's the first real book that's ever been put out about pro wrestling.
Okay. All right. Good.
You know, I don't go into stories about knocking this guy or knocking that guy or telling of his habits or my habits or whatever. I talk about me. It's the first book in wrestling that's ever been written about just one guy, me. I mean, I've been in so many other fucking books. Yeah.
Now, are you how are you writing this? I have to ask. Are you writing it longhand, or are you on a computer, or someone taking dictation?
I just speak into a microphone, bro.
Okay.
Speak into a microphone and have it transcribed.
Transcribe it for you. That's cool. And you think about 4 months, so definitely be looking out for that. And
I spent about 6 years writing it.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it. Well, man, if by the time we're done here in about 20 minutes, if you don't hate me too much, I definitely want to have you back on to promote your book when it comes out, man.
Definitely, man.
Thank you. That would be awesome. I want to ask you a little bit. There's a lot of people watching right now and getting a lot of questions. I do want to ask you a couple AEW related questions real quickly, if you don't mind. So first of all, I mean, are you enjoying it? Is it a job, or is it something you're really enjoying?
I am loving the hell out of being there. They are wonderful to me. It's just really, really awesome. Really is, and it's wonderful, bro. That's all I can tell you.
And you can see that when you watch you, and I thought that would be the case, but wanted to ask you. So we've in interviews
special people there really is, and I'm looking forward to doing more for them. And I will be there as long as I'm having fun.
And you're with Lance Archer's with you right now. He's a nice guy. Yes. I like him, and he's hell of a talent.
I had never met Lance until there, and I'm very impressed with him.
And are you
Christian man?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he's a really good straight shooter. Yeah, really cool guy. Who do you have your eye on to bring into the fold, if anybody? Who would be good as part of your crew there?
I don't know, man. I got to kind of keep that under the wraps, I think.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Is there a
just know this? Just know this. I've been on there now for what, 10, 12 weeks, and you haven't seen a snake yet, and you haven't seen me DDT anybody yet.
I was just going to ask you about those two things, man. You beat me to it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, sooner or later they'll have to happen.
So there's going to be a Damien in your future again then.
Yeah, you never know. You just never know. Just think.
Do you? I was wondering. I was going to ask you that question. Do you you like animals in general?
No. Yeah, I do like animals in general, but snakes, no, not so much.
Yeah, man, I'm not a fan. I actually got bitten by a cottonmouth about 3 years ago, and in my
that's nice.
Oh my God, man! Talk about true pain. Wow, I've been shot and stabbed before,
No shit.
And the snake bite hurt more.
Yeah, man, they are nasty too, man. They are mean.
It hung onto my calf. I literally had to like pry it off. It wasn't like a bite and jump back.
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll chase. A cottonmouth will chase you.
Man, I got it good. It had cornered two of my dogs had cornered it, so I got in the middle because I didn't want to get in my dogs. But oh my God! But
Jesus.
The upshot is, man, I used to be like deathly afraid of snakes. Now I'm like, well, I got bitten by the worst and survived it, so I'm not as afraid anymore. That's the upshot of that story, I guess.
I don't know, bro. I got bit probably 25 times, and I'm still scared of them bastards.
Are you? How about French bulldogs, man? Paige got a bunch of French bulldogs running around that house.
He did, but now they're all gone.
Okay, right, cool. So
sometimes the wives take something with them. So,
are you finding at AEW? Are you mentoring a lot of people there? I know you've in an interview said you have a lot to give back to the industry, and it's pretty obvious to all of us what it is.
Well, I've offered myself to many. There's been a couple of guys come and start asking things. I think the guys are, it really gets me, man. I don't know, man. I'm wanting to help these people so much, and yet I can't get it through my thick head that most of them are so intimidated just by my presence. And I don't get it because I don't look at myself like that, And it's really funny to watch, but hopefully, as people get used to me being around, they will start asking more. And there's certainly a lot to be given. A lot.
So when your day starts now, like you mentioned earlier in the interview that you have a lot of hope, which is such a beautiful thing to hear, truly, because if you have hope, you don't have hope, you don't have anything. This is usually a question I ask right at the end, but I want to ask it now. Like, what are you excited about in life right now? I ask myself, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up, Jake? What's the goal? What's exciting?
I'm not really sure. I think right now I'm just trying to see what God presents for me. I've realized I have so much fun just being me. I have so much fun training, working out. I really enjoy watching my body change. I'm going to be 65 next month. And Paige has been putting me through some workouts that a 40-year-old shouldn't do. Yeah. And I survived.
You're getting through them. No problem.
Yeah, well, there's problem, man.
Well,
my God,
right.
Man. He hit me with one 2 days ago, brother, that just dropped me to my knees, man. And in fact, that last night I slept 12 hours. And when I woke up today, I was actually sore from sleeping, but I was so exhausted that Dallas he gave me a break today. He says, you need to take the day off. Your body needs it.
Yeah, and he knows.
He has. And that's good because, I need him to push me, but I don't want him to cripple me, And he watches me pretty good, man. He makes me wear a heart monitor, and we watch all that stuff, which that heart monitor just pisses him off because my heart is so fantastic, man. I don't know how in the hell it is, but when I'm just sitting, you can check my heart rate right now would probably be 50, 55, 56.
Wow.
And you check Page's sitting down, Dallas is sitting down, and it's going to be about 85 or 90.
Hey, you all heard it here first, man. Jake Roberts beat Dallas Page on the heart monitor. That's good news, man.
Yeah, he'll tell you. I tell him it's the cigarettes that does it.
Are you still smoking cigarettes? Really? You're still at it?
Man, I'm trying to quit, man.
Are you?
Trying to quit.
All right.
Yeah, man.
But that's it, right? How's the diet?
I'm trying to quit for 15 years, man. I really have, man. And I just, man, I can't get there.
Well, Jake, you're so mentally strong again, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, man. I mean this.
Yeah.
You're so mentally strong these days. You've made such huge strides. So why are you not quitting yet? What's in the way? Maybe we can figure it out.
I don't know, bro. I've tried everything from Chantix to acupuncture to all sorts of weird stuff. I even got crazy with my thoughts on this. I ain't gonna tell you.
I don't mean to lead you that way. You know what, Jake? With all the stuff you've done, you've been through.
I used to like say, okay, I'm gonna reward myself, with something special.
That's all right, man.
I can't tell you what special was. It wasn't a drug, I'll tell you that.
All right.
It was a night with a couple of hookers in Vegas. I don't know.
Oh, that probably was it. Right. Okay.
It probably was.
So, but you feel good. I mean, physically, health-wise, you're feeling good.
I'm beat up. I need a couple of surgeries right now. I got to have my hands worked on. This finger, that's as straight as it gets. I got to have left corporal tunnel done, and some tendons snipped because my hands are contracting like this, and it's from being hit in the head too many times. But I got to have that done, and then I've got to have a. Oh my God, I can't believe I just hate thinking about it. I got to have a procedure done because my prostrate's swollen, and of course that comes with a calf in my penis for 3 days, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh, that is every male's nightmare, man. All I can say is I'm sorry to hear that, Jake.
Oh my God.
When is that?
Well, it was scheduled right before the pandemic broke out, and they canceled them. So I got a reprieve, which kind of pissed me off because it was like 4 days before I was supposed to do it. And I'd worked on myself for several days trying to get my head around it,
Yep.
And I talked to my penis for hours, It's okay. No, it's not. No, it's not.
That begets the following question, man. So now now we can get a little anxious about things because it's now put off for a minute. So what do you tell your penis now to make you feel better about having to wait a bit? How do you deal with the worry?
We're still not talking.
All right, cool.
After the last one because he was ready for it, and then it didn't happen.
All right.
He's not trusting me right now.
Oh yeah, I think you'll win him back, man. I do. I have faith. So when you wake up, and if you do worry about stuff, because we all worry, no matter what guru state we get to, do you have tools or a practice that you can call up to get your head right? you have some experience with this now. I just wonder if it's like something you read or something you watch, or it's just your own internal thought process.
It's usually just get quiet, settle. You know, if I've got a bunch of crap running through my head that's not good, I just do some breathing exercises, you know, and get still, you know, because usually whenever I'm amped up, I'm moving around, my hands are moving, everything's moving, and my thoughts are racing by me. So that's when I just go, wait a fucking minute, dude, slow the F down, you know, and I just try to get flat or get in a chair and just sit there and meditate for a few.
All right. I know I wanted to know that from you, and I would think everybody out there would too. Just again, because you've been through so much and come to such a good place. And even though I think people don't always know how they got there. It's so cool watching people that have done that and doing the best we can to learn about what worked for you, because there's people out there that need the inspiration and need the tools. So just getting quiet and slowing down, huh? That'll work.
Yeah, man. Just stop thinking. You know, stinking thinking. You know, that's the thing for me, man. My stinking thing, it makes me sick of myself. So I try to get quiet. And then I just start breathing. You know, put my hands on my diaphragm and let it go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually
sort of like Boris and Natasha from Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know, let the good air in, push the bad air out. Bullshit. You know.
I'm doing it right now as we're talking. Thanks for that.
All right, Rob, I'm gonna have to slide if you don't mind.
It's our pleasure to welcome the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts and Diamond Dallas Page to Talking Tough.
Yeah. What's up, boys?
Guys,
Page,
It's
Page, what do we miss in that intro, Jake? What do we miss there?
This is not a beauty contest, is it?
No, because I will beat you, all of you.
Like he needs to have that head circumcised. Just roll it down like a turtleneck bean.
What a nice thing to say. The opening of the show. Jake the Snake. I'm talking about snake. Wait a minute. You're talking about circumcision.
Yeah. Just going off somewhere. That's all. Just having fun.
That is a legendary mustache, and I'm like a kid in the candy store. I've watched DDP from the recovery of the neck injury to Jake the Snake Roberts bringing out the snakes. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I'm honored to be able to say that I've spoken to legends. The body of work you guys put in is, it's gotten me through time after time of just. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, so I would stay in the house and watch wrestling, thinking I'm gonna learn some of these moves when I go outside. I'm gonna use them, and my brother's quickly to tell me, like, "Hey, man, you know, a lot more training. You better use those moves." But
yeah,
it's just some great memories, man. I appreciate it.
Get the hell out of there. Run like the wind.
So, hey, Paige, how old are you, Jake? I'm sorry to ask you because you can't ask a woman, but I can ask you.
I'll be 67 soon.
Jeez, man, you're looking freaking awesome. This is insane.
67 soon.
A lot to owe to freaking Diamond Dallas there, right? This guy, he's changing people's lives.
Oh, millions, man. You know,
Diamond's here. You can ask him what you asked me that I can't tell you about the other people at the house. So, you know, I was telling Diamond that everybody's got their own challenges at the house that they're overcoming.
Yeah.
And they were wanting to know what they were, so I told them they'd have to ask you, Diamond.
Oh, let's let Jake check it. You know, when Jake, if anybody, you mentioned the resurrection of Jake the Snake a couple times. If anybody wants to see it who hasn't seen it, just go on Amazon Prime. It's up there, and you'll see Jake is like, just overcome so many hurdles in his life to be. Jake, where would you say you are in your life now and about to turn 67?
Well, here's the great thing, man. I was thinking about it earlier this evening, man, just about sunset. It's like, you know, things are so good for me right now that I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? And you know how that feeling is, man. It's like, man, something bad's fixing to happen. But I'm okay if something bad happens now, because I know that when it does happen, that I got the tools to straighten it out without going down that bad street, you know, without using again, without drinking again, without having to lie, without having to cheat or steal. You know, I know that I got myself right, and so I can take whatever comes at me and meet it head on and smile, you know. And that's a great feeling to be able to do that. You know, it used to, whenever I would have things come up or issues come up, or maybe my past came up and barked and bit me, I would run from it. You can't get nowhere running away. You got to go back towards it, man. You got to meet it head on. And whatever the problem is, face it and take it apart. You know, it'd be like Bean getting in the ring and trying to outrun the guy. What the hell for? I'll just wait for him to come around and knock his ass out.
Yep.
You know? And that's what you got to do, man. You just got to get yourself right. Know that you're walking the line. A lot of faith goes in with that. And just keep smiling, man, because the world's a beautiful place, man, if you let it happen, you know, and if you can appreciate the simpler things in life. You know, I think I appreciate honesty so much more now because I understand it. Back before, I never did. Holy shit, are you kidding me? You know, the drugs and the alcohol, that was just, you know, those were my tools to run with.
Yep.
To disappear with, to hide with. And the things that happened to me early in my life that scarred me, you know, I never wanted to bring those out. I never wanted to talk about them. You know, and I encourage anybody out there, if you want to get better in life, you need to start talking about what your real problems are, about that pain. Because the only way you can beat it is by exposing it to the light.
Accepting it.
Yeah, accept it. It happens. Get over it. You know?
Okay.
You know, and you'd be surprised once you start sharing how many other people are just like you. There's
Everybody.
the same damn problems.
What was it, Jake? With you, you know, now you said, okay, you need to talk about it. What was it really that set you on the wrong path?
It was my beginning in life. You know, my father wasn't a good man. He was a child molester, man. He raped my mother when she was 12 years old. You know, but back then you just married the young girl and kept moving, you know, different ways. They'd have hung his ass here now, you know.
Yeah.
And rightfully they should have. You know, he molested his own daughters.
Oh.
He had me molested by his ex-wife. Some ugly stuff went down, man. And, you know, we always hid from it. It's like secrets within the family.
Yeah.
Never talk about that stuff, you know. And as I got into wrestling, I started running into men that knew about my father. And they would throw that shit in my face. And I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. You know, and as that kept eating away at me, I started to withdraw. And I actually used that as fuel to get ahead because I got so angry about it. You know, anger can be a great tool, man. But you got to be careful because it'll turn around and bite you on the ass too.
100%.
You know, and I just know that in my life, I know that all things are possible now. Recovery is possible for anybody that wants it, but you got to be prepared to do the work. You know, Bean's going to find out. He's already starting to enjoy I call it, he's in a pink and fuzzy stage right now. Everything's fluffy and feels good. he's got some work, you know, and I think he's going to do it. You know, he's going to have the right people around him to support him. So it's just a matter of time, you know, and time, if you use it right, he can be a good friend.
Oh, nobody's going to mess with Bean, I know that, because he's got a big power group behind him. I mean, somebody touches him or any of you guys, we're all going to come over.
Oh, we're all good, man.
I almost think it's easier for us because there's 5 of us, where Jake was kind of like there by himself with like he had other people surrounding him, but not like other people going through the same thing that he is at the exact same time. I think that helps us a lot, having the other 5 or other 4 helping, you know, supporting you.
Yeah, I was kind of the Frankenstein model whenever I went, you know. They have me wired up to everything, man.
We all sat and watched
it was tough though, man.
And it touched all of us, Jake.
Yeah, I know. You know, the thing about Dallas was the thing that made it possible. It's real simple. That son of a bitch just won't give up on you. You know, when I would screw up and it would come out, of course, we would address it, and then we'd get right back to work. And each time I thought, well, that's it. I blew it this time. I know he ain't going to let me stay now. But he'd just shake his head, man, and just say, dude, we got to work on this. What are we going to do? And he made me part of the assessing my punishment type thing, you know. What should we do next, you know, to try to help you? He would listen. And he got a lot of help from Steve Yu. And they researched this stuff, man. They didn't know what a junkie was, you know. So I was the first to go through, and then Scott come along, of course. But there's thousands of people out there that Dallas has helped through places, man, through dark holes. You know, people that have been abused, people that are overweight and being abused verbally every day. You know, verbal abuse can be so ugly, man, because it cuts a person to the heart.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there that will search you out and throw this stuff on you and want to watch you be in pain. There's some ugly people in this world.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, but the only way you're going to get back with them, man, is just to smile at them, you know. And they hate that shit. Don't smile at some bitches trying to make you miserable. I like doing that because you make them worry a little bit. You're like, some bitch is smiling at me, man. What's he going to do? Well, you never know what I'll do. Neither do I. I never know what I'll do.
Do you remember that feeling that you had when you have this sense of hopelessness? I felt that hopelessness.
Oh God, yeah.
When you felt the transition from that glimmer of hope starting to come.
Yeah. Well, for me, the first glimmer of hope I got was when I lost my first 15 pounds. You know, because I thought those days of me getting healthy again were long gone. Because I was trying to die. You know, my life was over. And I was just trying to, you know, hurry it up, you know.
Yeah.
And but God had a different plan for me, man. And every day He reveals something else in His plan for me.
Amen.
I'm just excited. You know, I really am.
Did you ever confront your dad after this whole thing happened?
I confronted my dad years ago. Yeah, I told him if he ever picked up one of my daughters, I'd kill him.
Wow.
How did that go? How was that conversation? Did he understood that
He was like water running. He never accepted it. He just let it go. You know.
Yeah.
He never looked at his problem.
Wow.
He never looked at his problem, man. I mean, oh man, it's such a sickness, man. And there's a lot more of it goes on than we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to tell you guys this, but I can go to Comic-Cons now, and it doesn't happen every time, I hope. But I can see kids that I know are being abused.
Yeah.
I can sense it.
Yeah.
And man, every time that happens, I just look at who they're with, man. Because whoever's abusing them will be close by.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Make sure the secret stays secret.
Right. Keep them under that thumb, man.
Yeah.
And I encourage anybody out there that's been sexually abused to get help, man. There's lots of help out there. It's available. Get a hold of me. Get a hold of Dallas. Go to the police. Go to your counselor at school. Tell somebody.
Yep.
Because it don't have to be that way. It's wrong in so many different ways.
Powerful message. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so that message hits home with
oh man. Be careful where you let them go, man. You never know.
Yep.
Just because somebody's dressed up over there and lives in a fine house, don't mean they ain't got shit to throw. Because the best ones at it are the ones that hide the best.
Okay, hey, let's see. Was this one of the reasons you started pro wrestling? What was the main reason you started getting into this crazy freaking career? Because I know pro wrestling, I've been a professional fighter. I did everything. And then I went to professional wrestling and I got injured way more than I got injured in professional fighting, So I got I got to really watch out. But so how do you choose a profession like that?
Well, the reason I got into it is I was trying to gain my father's love.
Yeah.
I was, just come out of high school. I did very well in school. I wanted to be an architect. That was my dream. I loved drawing, looking at homes and houses and buildings and the shapes and everything, man. It was so beautiful. But that's what I wanted to be. But I came out of high school and my father never attended anything I ever did. He never came to a ball game. He never went to graduation or anything like that. And I'd see him once or twice a year, for about a day and a half. Then he'd be gone again. And any child, man, regardless of what you're going through, they always have this dream of daddy saving them. And I wanted my dad to be proud of me and hoist me up on his shoulders and bring me in, because I knew I was on the outside of what was going on. I knew I wasn't the focus of his focus. So I went to visit him and told him that I was going to go into, try to go to college. And he's like, well, I hope you don't want anything from me, Okay, why would I want anything from you? You haven't given me anything your whole life, And, a couple of nights later, youth, ignorance, and alcohol got into it. And my brain told me if I wanted my dad to be proud of me, that I needed to challenge one of those wrestlers. And I did. And this guy beat the living crap out of me. He stretched my ass, man. He made me squeal like a little girl, man. All the fans were laughing at me and just really pissing themselves laughing at me. And I was mortified. I couldn't believe what had happened to me. And I crawled back to the locker room because I couldn't walk. And my father looked down at me and said, I'm ashamed of you, you're gutless, and you'll never amount to anything. And that's not what I wanted to hear. And I remember that night because that night is when I made my deal with the I told the devil, man, that I prayed to the devil that night. You help me get to the top of the wrestling world. I'll do anything. I'll cheat. I'll lie. I'll steal. I'll do drugs, whatever it takes to get me to where my father has to respect and love me.
So,
and the lesson I learned there, man, was you can't expect anybody to love you in the flavor you want. You got to accept what love is there.
Yeah.
And see, that's not what I believed. I believed everybody should live in the Leave It to Beaver household. But we all know that's not true. That's part of learning life. And that's the reason I got into wrestling, man, because I wanted to break it off of my father's rear end. And, he never told me, not once, that he was proud of me of my career. He would tell other people he was proud of me, but would not tell me. And I forgave him for his wrongs along, I guess about 5-6 years before he died. And you don't get to choose who your father is, And it's hard. It's hard, man.
But all these years later, decades later, Jake the Snake Roberts is a much bigger name in pro wrestling than Grizzly Smith ever was.
Oh,
does that matter? Does that matter? Is that important?
No. You don't think it's important right now, man. Tell me. Because, I've done some pretty good drugs in my time, but I've never had anything make me near as high as I get whenever I help somebody. That's the most incredible high I have, man. Is to help somebody stand on their own 2 feet. When you help somebody get better. Dallas and them used to be a hard time because I'd go to the store to pick up something and I'd start talking to somebody that was limping or something, trying to get them into DDP yoga. And I'd be an hour late getting home, yelling at me, "Where the hell's that stuff that we sent you to the store for?" "Yeah, Dallas, but I brought this guy home. You got to meet this guy,
Yeah.
I used to drive him crazy with that shit. Some of that worked out pretty good. He got a good lawyer out of the deal.
So, hey, Jake, with that, let's transition over to DDPY and Dallas. I don't know if we're even allowed to say the name of the show. So we're gonna So Change or Die. It's a fascinating, such a great concept. We know what it is. Bean certainly knows it because he's living it every day. For those who may have not heard us talk about it before, can you tell us what Butterbean is going through with you right now and what this is all about?
We could have called the resurrection of Jake the Snake
before
Change or Die, right, Jake? The concept is it's bringing 5 different people together. It's not a reality show. It's a docuseries. Jake, when we started filming Jake, it was a documentary. And we had cameras in the ceilings and people running around, and it was in my house. And we just filmed it as it went. And we caught about 80% of the really amazing shit that went down. And Steve Yu, who's a director and he runs my company, he took 500 hours in Resurrection and channeled it down to 93 minutes of just unbelievable magic, because it's about addiction. And I'm going to glance over to Change or Die in a second, but Resurrection Jake the Snake is about addiction, so it's dark, but it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. Most importantly, it'll inspire you. So what we did this time was one of my buddies, Marcus Bagwell, has gone through some really dark times over the last couple of years. And over the last 18 months, he, at one point, 8 years ago, he was going to jail. God said to him, he must have heard about what we were doing with Jake. The judge said to him, if you could get Diamond Dallas Page to vouch for you, we will put you on parole and you won't have to do jail. Jake came with me to the court and we helped him from not going to jail. And from there, Marcus, mainly the pills, but the drinking and the pills and the drugs all go together at one time or another. But the pills were his problem. And over the last 18 months, he's been trying to get me to help him. I'm like, Buff, I love you, but you bring so much drama. You're a lot of work. So I'm working on this idea of Change or Die, which is a show we're going to take it back to the same crib that Jake went through. And if you're willing to wait, when it happens, I promise you, you'll be the first guy in. And as we went through that journey, he knew he was in when it happened because everybody was telling him, I'm not going to book you. You're not dependable. If you can get Dallas is okay, we'll look at you. So he knew that it was a lifeline. And then I was doing your show and I started talking about it. And Flex Wheeler said, you need to have Butterbean on that show. And what the show is, and what the docu-series is taking 5 people from 5 different parts of the country, 5 completely different people, and putting them in one house and see if it can do this and help each other. Being talked about earlier about gluten-free and dairy-free. When Jake moved in my house,
Oh, God.
the first thing, we never told him that it was gluten-free and dairy-free. The food's delicious, but if you don't know, this gluten-free and dairy-free started like over 15, 20 years ago. And the reason why it did, it's because of the inflammation in your body. The reason why you die is inflammation overtakes your body and you can't just function anymore. And our food in our country sucks. It fucking sucks. It's criminal. So the first thing that we did, because Jake is really bad, but when he gets there and he starts eating real food, and the same thing happened when Scott Hall came in, and you're eating real food, well, the inflammation's going to start to dissipate. And you're going to start feeling a little bit better and have a little more energy. And you're not going to be it's not going to hurt as much to do simple reach up in the touchdown. Like just reaching your arms over your head. Because a lot of my buddies, they can't go past here. But before you know it, they can do here and then here, and that might be it. But it's movement. It's not just stretching. It's stretching and strengthening muscles, ligaments, and tendons. So that's what the workout is that we teach them, because my workouts start off in bed. Well, no one had to be in bed here, but 4 of the 5 people had to start sitting in a chair. And then eventually got off the chair and started to use the chair. We only have one person who doesn't have to use the chair right now. Biggest Loser. It's about weight loss, but it's not. But it's about weight loss. It's about The Apprentice with the challenges, but it's not. It's about intervention, and yes, it is. It's about bringing Butterbean Bagwell, a black woman who is 67 years old and easily over 100 pounds overweight, a Latino girl who is 5'8", and when she starts, she's 335, and I've never seen a woman look that good at 335. She's a fitness model, a plus-size fitness model, but she's a good-looking lady. She got a ton of charisma. And then there's a white boy who is, well, he thought when he got to the house he was 486 pounds, and he's 5'5".
Wow.
That's
Right.
what she's on.
Yeah. And when he got on the scale, because we have a scale that goes to 700 pounds, I have a chair that if you need it, takes you upstairs. But it's not the 300-pound chair, it's the 600-pound chair, which goes from $3,000 to $10,000. But people are going to need a chair sometimes. blown up for after work or just need it. This kid needed it. When he got on the scale, he was 513 pounds.
Wow.
And he just started crying. Bean was there. Every single person's heart went out to this kid. All I'll tell you about that kid for right now, first of all, Bean and Buff, and all I'm going to say is they blew everybody away the first 4 weeks. Blew everyone away. Because these two guys are athletes. They know how to friggin' cut back on the carbs for weight. And the other people are as green as grass. So the first 4 weeks, those guys blew everybody away. This kid, his name is Taylor. We call him T-Dog. He couldn't stand for more than 15 seconds. Am I lying, Bean?
No, you're right on the money.
15 seconds? I got to sit down. Really at 10. And to see where this kid, and all I'll tell you is Bean was sitting in the room today because my head trainer that works for me and one of my best friends, he's like my brother, his name is Josh Nair. And he is so amazing with everyone. Some days he does 2 workouts a day. That means he might do 10 workouts in a day because we do it with you. It's not friggin' do this, do that, do this, do that. We do it with you. So you can actually see and understand, okay, now go a little bit farther, go a little bit deeper, and I come in after a week or so and then take people through different programs and take them a little bit farther. And then Josh takes that and builds on that. My wife Paige comes in, does the same thing. So this kid today, and I just have him, I'll walk around the block. He can't walk around the block, but he can walk around the house. And the first time he had to sit down 5 times. Yesterday, he sat down twice very quickly and up in 15 seconds and beat his best time ever around the house. You know that show, My 600-Pound Life?
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest, most fucked up thing as Biggest Loser. Because Biggest Loser, their inspirational part's cool, but they're behind the scenes shit. Because I've talked to so many of those people, they beat the fuck out of them. Falling on the treadmill, face down. He's like, oh my God, what the fuck? It's like the Jerry Springer of fucking workout shows to me. Our place, we give a fuck. And is there this sometimes? Abso-fucking-lutely. But that's not what we're pushing. We're pushing this. And we're 6 weeks in, and we were going to go 3 months. And my business partner and I, Steve Yu, today, we talked today, we need 4 months. We need 4 months. But the only way people can stay, because Bean and Buff, they go and work every weekend. I lose so much when they leave because, like you saw, Bean, he walked in almost bent over completely, and now he's up to here pretty consistently. That hip needs to be redone. We took him down to the doctor. We filmed the whole thing. His leg's out like this. So when your foot's out like this, you got to be bent over.
Yeah.
So the goal is to get Bean to freaking get the surgery on the hip. And I told him, I need 4 weeks after that. 4 straight weeks. Because he sits in a damn car for 8-9 hours sitting. That goes against everything we're trying to do. We're trying to lengthen.
Yeah.
I said the same thing to Buff, whose knee is so fucked up because he was whacked out on somas and crashed his fucking car. And if you saw his knee and his leg, you go, whoa, that's a year later. Now we got him in hyperbaric chambers 4 days a week at 30 PSI. Mine are 15. These are the glass tube at 30 PSI, which is like it's like 75 feet below sea level. And oxygen coming in and healing your body. Not just your brain, too. If you saw his skin, he looked like he was dying when he got there. Now he looks alive, and there's color in his eyes, and he's not killing up.
Huge difference. I mean, the difference is amazing, man. We see it. It's so clear. Incredible.
So
like I here at the house, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. My granddaughter pulled up about the same time, and I was sitting in a wheelchair before, and I'm on my crutches. For the first time, they come running up to me.
How'd that feel? How'd that feel, Bean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jake's got his kids and his grandkids. We all went fishing up in when we were down at Mania. We all went fishing. He got the boats for us. We all went out fishing. You know, it's all about quality of life, and that's what I'm trying to help people get. We teach them how to eat. We teach them how to train. More importantly, we teach them how to think. Reboot the negative bullshit you tell yourself and live life with a positive attitude. Now, I'm positive. It's like, what's the story you tell yourself? Jake and I had a great story. That was one of the very few things that wasn't on film. But I was in the kitchen, in the crib, same place that Bean's at. And Jake came down and he punched. He was so mad, he punched the marble counter. And he goes, I'm such a fucking loser. I go, bro, what's the matter? What's the matter? He goes, I'm such an idiot. I go, bro, stop saying that. He goes, oh, D. I go, come here. And I walked him into the bathroom. I said, what do you see? He goes, a fucking loser. I go, stop saying that. I go, look at the T-shirt you're wearing. And the T-shirt said, wasted youth. And I go, every time you wear that T-shirt, bro, that's what you say. You should be wearing positive energy. You should be wearing unstoppable. You should be willing to never give up. He said, you know what? And it clicked. He goes, you're right. And he came downstairs and he wrote this out. What did you write, Jake?
My history will not be my destiny.
Powerful.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the quote on the T-shirt right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dallas is right about that. It's the story you tell yourself, man.
Yep.
You got to believe in yourself.
So there.
It's all, it's your head, it's your heart, all working in unison, man. It's a great place to be, and I'm excited for the people at the crib because I know what's going to happen. It's like I know this movie is there's film. I already know the ending to it. It's like, oh man, I want to tell them, but I can't.
Yeah,
it's awesome, man. It really.
Jake and Paige, what can somebody that's really hurting do for themselves if they don't have a Diamond Dallas Page in their lives? What's like a basic piece of advice you can do for somebody to start turning it around?
Well, that one.
I'll tell you the easiest thing, because I ain't pitching shit here. I give my app out for 7 days so people can do exactly what I'm going to tell you. If you go to ddpyoga.com or ddpy.com and you get the app, 7 days are free. Kill it after that. Because in 7 days, you go on that app, the very first thing you'll see is the list. You hit that video, and I'm going to tell you what the list is. People see literally thousands and thousands of people, tens of thousands. If you go to ddpyoga.com Just DDP Yoga, one word on Facebook. Fuck what I'm telling you. Fuck what Jake Butterbean's telling you. Just go DDP Yoga, one word on Facebook. Read what people write. It started with a buddy of mine named Chris Gabriano. Then it was 5 people. Then it was 10. Then it was 100. Now there's 70,000 fucking people that help each other. You can't fake that shit. That's one of the things I have you do on the list. The other one is figure out what your why is. The very first thing that we ask you to do as a contest is what, Bean?
Why are you there?
Why are you there? And we make a video of it. And you tell us why you're there. That's the number one thing. Later on, we'll teach you how to set goals. There's so many inspirational things on that list. And everyone who does the complete list, their life they don't just change their life. They start owning their life. And that's what we want to be. And everybody here was a fucking athlete and a hell of an athlete. But as an athlete, you beat the fuck out of your body, which leads to can be a really horrible friggin' golden years.
Yeah.
They're not horrible for me. They're not horrible for Jake. Are they still sore? Hell yeah. Are my knees still bone on bone? Yeah, but I fight it every day. Every morning, every night. I fight it and hold it back. Because when you stop, that's where you're fucked. That's where you're fucked. Get the knee surgeries. Get the hip replacement. Whatever you got to do. I have none of that shit yet. And I turned 66 last week. So it's all about movement and strength built into the movement, which creates the mobility that helps you hold back the hands of time. And that's what everything that I give you on the list is there. And if you want to keep the app after that, keep it. If you don't, blow it the fuck off. But the bottom line is, if you do everything on the list, no matter what, it'll change the way you think.
Paige, if you don't mind, I want to offer an unsolicited testimonial here. A couple of months ago, you and I were speaking, and I think we had talked. I had done like 15 days in a row of DDPY after years of not doing it, and I was feeling great. And then, like a fucking idiot, I stopped doing it. So I come back from the trip I was on, just beaten to death and more exhausted than I've been in I don't know how long. I'm 60 now. My story I tell myself is my body's wrecked. I know it's a story. So maybe in honor of tonight's show, maybe just because I knew I needed it, I put on DDPY today on my TV. I did one workout. It was 15 minutes. It was a beginning workout. I did the list first. I did the workout, and dude, it reset my entire day, physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole nine. So I just want to echo what you're saying. People out there, if you're having a hard time getting started, do something. All you need is an internet connection. Go to the library and get it if you have to. Try out what Paige is saying. Try DDPY. It's a life changer. It
don't matter what kind of condition you're in. There's a program that will work for you. I guarantee it.
I gotta
go, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Jake.